Behold, my servant shall work wisely. He shall be exalted and lifted up very high. As many were astonished at you, so the disfigurement be on any man's, and his form be on the sons of men. He shall likewise startle many nations. Sovereigns will shut their mouths at them. For what had not been recounted to them, they shall see, and what they had not heard, they shall understand. Who has believed our report? And to whom was the arm of Yahuwah revealed? For he grew up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of dry ground. He has no form or splendor that we should look upon him, nor appearance that we should desire him. Despised and rejected by men, a man of pains and knowing sickness, and as one from whom the face is hidden, being despised, we did not consider him. Truly he has borne our sicknesses and carried our pains. Yet we reckoned him stricken, smitten by Elohim, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our crookednesses. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed. We all, like sheep, went astray. Each one of us has turned to his own way, and Yahuwah has laid on him the crookedness of us all. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, but he did not open his mouth. He was led as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before its shearers is silent, but he did not open his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment. And as for his generation, who considered that he should be cut off from the land of the living? For the transgression of my people, he was stricken. And he was appointed a grave with the wrong and with the rich at his death, because he had done no violence, nor was deceit in his mouth. But Yahuwah was pleased to crush him. He laid sickness on him. And when he made himself an offering for guilt, he would see a seed. He would prolong his days, and the pleasure of Yahuwah would prosper in his hand. He would see the result of the suffering of his life and be satisfied. Through his knowledge, my righteous servant makes many righteous, and he bears their wickednesses. Therefore I give him a portion among the great, and he divides the spoil with the strong, because he poured out his being unto death. And he was counted with the transgressors, and he bore the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors.
Shabbat Shalom, guys.
Shabbat Shalom. I think Josh
Jose, you're
Aaron's
still muted.
There we go. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Jose's
All right.
muted still.
It's still muted, Jose.
Welcome, everyone, to Torah Before Shabbat TV. This is your brother Jose speaking, and to Shabbat Shalom to everyone that is here with us. And I'm just very happy that today's going to be a festival. We're going to talk about the festival Shavuot. Today with us is Brother Toby and Brother Bo, and I'm just very excited. We have a lot to talk about, and this is let the brothers introduce and I'll do a quick prayer and we'll get things going. So let's just go ahead and introduce yourself, Brother Toby. Everyone knows you, but say hello, and Brother Bo.
Shabbat Shalom. It's great to be here. We're just going to talk about some Shavot today. So,
Brother Bo.
I love being with brothers on Shabbat, being able to just go back and forth with Scripture. The Proverbs 27:17, iron sharpening iron, as one brother sharpens another. I hope the people joining in get a lot out of what we bring forth today.
Yes, sir. And we thank Father for this wonderful day. Let's do a quick prayer. Father, we thank you. Thank you for this day of rest and day of study of your Torah, Father. We thank for everyone that is listening. Thank you for all the viewers, Father. We thank you for all the new subscribers that are coming. Father, this is your will. This is your channel, Father. We're just here to learn from you and your scripture, Father. We actually bless each and every one of our brothers and sisters that listen. Those that are listening now and those that are listening in the future, Father. They give them a hug, Father, and just keep showing them and keep teaching us to be the sons of light, Father. In the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. All right, brother. So take it away, Toby. I love the screen that you got going on, Shavot. 5 major events connected to Shavot. Take it away, Toby.
So pretty much, I think this is great because one of the, I'm going to call it a problem. One of the problems that we have here in the Torah movement, regardless of what you identify as inside of the Torah movement, one of the problems is that it's a major problem, is that we don't necessarily understand the feast. In particular, we have a couple that we don't think that we have a whole lot of information on. And so I don't want to say that we're flippant about it, but I want to say that we've gotten to the point where we've just accepted in a lot of ways that maybe we just don't know, and we will be shown one day when Messiah returns and let his kingdom come and we'll be done, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with having that desire of your heart for all things to be known then, but I do believe that Yahuwah has given us plenty to know and understand, way more than what we currently think that we may understand. And Shabbat, one of those big ones. The first fruits is one of those big ones, right? And these are tied together, right? So, there's another thing going on here. We'll hit it a little bit more, but we have people, every single one of us know multiple people, maybe over 100 people apiece, plus. We each know people who claim falsely, because of religion and the indoctrination of pagan customs and cultures onto us without us even knowing from birth, right? We think that Yeshua's birthday happens on the 25th of December, and they celebrate it. And that's 9 months from Easter, whenever the fertility, stuff goes down and the conception's had, and then 9 months later, there's a child born. That is pagan as all get out. That comes right from Nimrod, his wife, and Tammuz, the kid that was born from them because the rays of the sun impregnated her. See, people aren't looking at their history books. People aren't getting in and reading because we're just listening to what other people say, and it's a problem because we're missing some really huge things. Like Shavot is Yeshua's birthday. There we have it. That's huge. We all want to celebrate his birthday. Well, it's right here, and there's multiple things that are celebrated on his birthday. So I think that the first place that we probably need to go, just to reinforce what we already know, what we've seen a bunch, is we got to go to Leviticus 23, and we got to read it real quick, and then we get to jump and we get to start working this thing out. And what is it about? How are these 5 events connected? A little bit of a history lesson, and start, just kind of getting more robust in our understanding of what's going on here. So So that's kind of like what's in front of us, you know, and the biggest thing is the knowledge has to increase for us. Jose says that a lack of knowledge, my children, they're destroyed, you know, and so our knowledge has to increase, and that's ultimately I hope what we can achieve here today is a little more thorough understanding of what's going on here historically, so that we can know that Shabbat is much more than what we've been told, where it's just kind of like, oh, we don't really know what to do, so we just kind of like get together, and yeah, it's a first fruit, so the men are supposed to present themselves, you know, but other than that, we don't really know what else to do, you know, there's nothing, you know. No. There's a lot going on here. So let's start off with
Leviticus.
Yeah, can you bring up 23?
Yeah.
And we'll just read the commands.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Let me just present. Share screen. Bam. So there we go. You see it?
I see a web link. I don't see the
Give it a time. It'll pop up.
Okay.
It's I just clicked it in. Yeah, it's
I'm gonna read it out of the ISR.
okay.
So I'm gonna read it off my phone here.
I got it. You see it?
There
Leviticus
it is.
22:15. Go for it.
All right. It says, and from the day after the Sabbath, the day you brought the sheaf of the wave offering, count off 7 full weeks. Count off 52 days. Sorry, it's really small. Up to the day after the 7th Sabbath, and then present an offering of new grain to the master. From wherever you live, bring 2 loaves made to Yahuwah. From wherever you live, bring 2 loaves made of 2/10 of an ephah, the finest flour, baked with yeast, and wave offering, first fruits to Yahuwah. Present with this bread 7 male lambs, each a year old, without defect, 1 young bull, 2 rams. Man, that's the same thing that they do, like we talked about last week, was offering. They will be burnt offerings to Yahuwah, together with their grain offerings and drink offerings, a food offering, an aroma pleasing to Yahuwah. Then sacrifice 1 male goat for a sin offering, and 2 lambs, each a year old, for a fellowship offering. So look, once again, like we've talked about in weeks past, there's that sin offering right there. Here's 2 for a fellowship offering. To wave the 2 lambs before Yahuwah as a wave offering, together with the bread of the first fruits. They are sacred. They're a sacred offering to Yahuwah for the priest. On that same day, you are to proclaim a sacred assembly and do no regular work. This is to be a lasting ordinance for the generations to come, wherever you live. Okay, so that's out of the NIV. That's not what I said I was going to read. So I just want to make sure nobody gets confused. SR. It says it's just a little bit differently, not a big deal.
Which one is the one you want? Because I got different verses here.
It's all good. It's the one out of the ISR, but that's fine.
ISR
2009 is another way of saying it, but let's.
Oh, you got different kinds. So you want to do the New King James version?
Yeah, do the New King James. I'm not a big fan of the nearly inspired version.
New King James. Okay, and you shall count for yourselves for the day after the Shabbat, for the day that you brought the sheaf of the wave offering. 7 Shabbats shall be completed. Count 50 days to the day after the 7th Shabbat. Then you shall offer a new grain offering to Yahuwah. You shall bring from your dwellings 2 wave loaves of 2/10 of an ephah. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baked with leaven. They are the first fruits to Yahuwah. You shall offer with the bread 7 lambs the first year, without blemish, 1 young bull and 2 rams. They shall be as burnt offerings to Yahuwah, with their grain offerings and their drink offerings, an offering made by fire for sweet aroma to Yahuwah. Then you shall sacrifice one kind of goats as a sin offering, and 2 male lambs of first year as a sacrifice of peace offering. The priest shall wave them with the bread of the first fruits as a wave offering before Adonai. With the 2 lambs, they shall be holy to Adonai for the priest, and you shall proclaim on the same day that it is a holy convocation to you. You shall do no customary work on it. It shall be a statute forever. Let me repeat that. A statute forever in all your dwellings throughout your generations. When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not wholly reap the corners of your field when you reap, nor shall you gather any gleaning from your harvest. You shall leave them for the poor and for the stranger. I am Adonai, your Yahuwah. Go for it.
Okay. Let's so we get some information in there. That's great. You know, let's build upon this data, and let's go to Jubilees 1 to start with. I got a version, but I don't know how to bring it up, to be honest with you. So
just go to present. I'm gonna stop screen, so you can just go to present and put share screen, and there you go. It'll come right on.
All right. Let me
But
just...
the most, what I find interesting is that they're always saying this is a Jewish festival. It's a Jewish festival. That's all you hear. Jewish festival. It's not a Jewish festival. It's all those that follow Father. It's all those that accept the Messiah. It's his festival. He said it very clear from day one. And this is where you come in with those a lot of doctrines, a lot of theology, a lot of misconceptions. These festivals are for us. All those that follow, you can be Jewish, you can be Caucasian, you can be black, you can be Chinese, you can be Spanish. If you follow the Messiah, we are all one family. We follow the Torah. What's the Torah? The instructions, the word. All of this festival is an amazing festival. It has a lot to say, and it's all for us. Just let me know when you okay.
I got something to add in.
Go for it. You got it, Toby?
So,
No, I don't got it. I don't know what I'm doing. I got to make this stop.
Well, you're on your 5 major events connected to Shabbat. That's what you got up.
Okay.
Go for it. Go ahead, Bo. Go ahead. You got something to say? Go ahead.
yesterday I was at a job doing a job for this lady, and I noticed that she had a Hanukkah. And I said something. I said, "Whose Hanukkah is that?" And she goes, "Oh, it's mine." And she goes, "I'm Jewish." I said, "You're Jewish?" And she goes, "Yeah." And she goes, "Are you Jewish?" And I'm like, "No." She goes, "Well, you got a menorah, but your menorah only has one flame, like one light on it, because the center candle has a flame on my little decal." And I said, "That's because it's for Shavot." And she goes, "Well, what's that?" And I said, "Well, it's one of the feast." And she goes, "Well, we only celebrate Hanukkah." And I said, "So you're Jewish and you don't celebrate Passover?" And she goes, "Not really." She goes, "I'm not religious." And so we got to talking about Shavot and stuff, and it was just neat to I was explaining to her that they're not the Jewish festivals, they're Yahuwah's festivals.
Yes.
And we're commanded to keep them.
Yes. Yes.
I just thought it was neat how the whole dynamic of the conversation started off because of my logo on my truck, and then her Hanukkah.
I find that interesting how,
Did that work?
Yeah, it worked perfect. Look, chapter 6, no sacrifices, Yahuwah's covenant. Yep, I see it.
Yeah, it's up there.
There you go, the Book of Jubilees. I see it perfect. And that's what I don't understand. That's sad because even our because the Bible describes Torah describes that the Jewish people are our elder brothers, right? This is the elders. Yeshua even described it that way. But it is through generation. Do you see how they don't even know what it is? Some of them are just lost. Some of them, they just like, oh, it's a tradition. It's just something we do, but we have no clue what it's about. I've seen a lot of videos like that, and I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? To where even in that aspect, they're lost. You know what I mean? But this is why Yeshua said to basically have what? To study his word. So you're not going to get lost if you study his word. You're not going to get lost if you know that these festivals are his festivals. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, what I also found interesting is she said, "Yeah, I ended up sinning this morning because I ate some bacon." And I said, "You know, you're not supposed to do that, right?" And she goes, "Yeah." She goes, "But I only believe in some of the Bible." I said, "The Old Testament?" She goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, you know, bacon's in the Old Testament, right?"
Mhm, mhm.
And it shut her up.
It was like, hey, you know, I get it. You know what I mean? They get tempted. You know what I mean? I believe that, you know, it's a battle. A lot of times it's a battle. Toby, you're ready?
I'm ready.
Go for it.
I'm ready. So chapter 1. So this is Jubilees. Talked about a little bit before in prior ones, but this is a historical document. Talks about what happened with Moses and up on a mountain, and Yahuwah giving them their history back, and that's kind of what this is. So it starts out in chapter 1. That's why I wanted to read this for you. We're talking about Shavot, right? So it says right here in chapter 1 of Revelations at Mount Sinai.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass in the first year of the exodus of the children of Israel out of Egypt, in the 3rd month, on the 16th day of the month, that Elohim spake to Moses, saying, "Come up to me on the mount. I will give thee 2 tables of stone of the law of the commandments, which I have written, that thou mayest teach them." And Moses went up. Okay, so we have a reference right here to chapter 19 in Exodus 1. But so let me. We'll get to that here in just a second. I want to fast forward to chapter 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and the whole reason why he was up there, why he called him up there, is because he was giving him the covenant, right? And so that's what, you know, he goes up there 40 days and nights, and he taught him the earlier and the later history of the divisions of all the days of the law and the testimony. And he said, "Incline." Now, just think about this too. We can put this timeline together if y'all want to, but whenever we go into Exodus 19, you got to go through a couple chapters to do it. But you got to think, you got to count whenever he goes up there. Whenever we go into Exodus 19, I'll point this out. But he goes up there, and then he's called up, and it's not for another couple of days after he separated himself from the elders that he is actually, it's on the Sabbath that Yahuwah meets with him. And so he's up there on the mountain by himself, kind of like waiting on Yahuwah. And those days counted into that, plus the 40 whenever Yahuwah met him, that's 49 days, 50 days, right? So it takes him, so whenever he came off of the mountain, he was right at the next appointed time. He came at that time. So whenever he comes down, he breaks some tablets. That ain't just any old day. That ain't just any old time of the year happening, right? And so all this is connected. It's all history, right? So that's what he's up there for. We'll go to Exodus 19 after we hit on Jubilees a little bit. We're gonna go to 6. Oh, went a little far. Okay, chapter 6. Noah's sacrifice, Yahuwah's covenant with him, which is Genesis 8:20 through 9:17. So if you look off to the left and right here, there's some stuff that's written down. There's references to other places, other books, other places inside of this book. A lot of information here. Feel free to take screenshots or whatever. And just so that you know, this particular version of Jubilees, the reason why I share it and use it in this capacity is because it's from the God culture. Don't like their name, but they had a long time. They got a massive following, and the guy started putting out these writings, and he's restored them, and he started putting them all together, as you can see, where he's showing you how to cross-reference these things. These are great. They got pictures inside of them. They're excellent for studying, for the learning of history. Very easy to comprehend these. Anyways, just want to put that out there so y'all know what version I'm using. So, and on the new moon of the 3rd month, he went forth from the ark. So this is Noah. sacrifices, Yahuwah's covenant with him, instructions to Moses about eating blood in the Feast of Weeks and the division of years. And on the new moon of the 3rd month, he went forth from the ark and built an altar on the mountain. And he made atonement. Now, we're in the 3rd month, all right? It says new moon. I'd say that's probably more connected once we get into the latter part of it. It might be in there, but that might just mean the first day of the month as well, right? So, and we know the Jewish traditions, that new moon is like their beginning or whatever. So, and he made atonement for the earth and took a kid and made atonement by its blood for all the guilt of the earth, for everything that had been on it had been destroyed, save those that were in the ark with Noah. And he placed the fat thereof on the altar, and he took an ox and a goat and a sheep and kids and salt and a turtle dove and the young of a dove, and placed a burnt sacrifice on the altar, and poured thereon the offering mingled with oil, and sprinkled wine, and strewed frankincense over everything, and caused a goodly savor to arise, acceptable before Yahuwah. Now that kind of sounds like similar to what we read in Leviticus 23 about what they're supposed to do. All right, so take note of that. And it wasn't just him killing animals. There's other stuff there. The goodly Savior. And he made a covenant with him that there should not be any more a flood to destroy the earth. That all the days of the earth. Now listen to this. It's never going to destroy the earth with water again. Now listen to this for everybody who thinks that global warming and all this other craziness is a thing. All the days of the earth, seed time and harvest should never cease. Okay? Cold and heat and summer and winter and day and night should not change their order nor cease forever.
Wow.
Yeah?
Wow.
Will not change their orders or cease forever.
Wow. Wow. That's a lot.
That alone we could go on for a while, but we're not going to.
Yeah.
That's a covenant.
That's a covenant. Yes.
That's about SHavot. Okay,
Yes.
It's going to link it all to it, right? So here we are. So this is even linked to the flood.
Yeah. Amazing.
So,
wow.
And you increase ye and multiply upon the earth and become many upon it, and it be a blessing upon it. The fear of you and the dread of you I shall inspire in everything that is on earth and in the sea. Okay, so just a quick little jump in here. I don't know if y'all remember being a little boy running around with a BB gun, and going out hunting, right? And y'all ever noticed it or not, but it seemed like all the birds would be outside, and then I'd come out with a gun and they'd all be gone. I don't know if y'all ever noticed that before, and y'all maybe that's something here. Put the fear of you and the dread and everything that's on the earth. Behold, I have given you all beasts and all winged things and everything that moveth on the earth, and the fish in the waters, and all things for food. As the green herbs, I have given you all things to eat. But flesh with the life thereof, with the blood, you shall not eat. Notice how it says, with the blood, you shall not eat, for the life of all flesh is in the blood. Lest your blood of your lives be required, in the hand of every man, at the hand of every beast, shall I require the blood of man. Whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of Elohim made he man, and you increase ye and multiply on the earth. There's that command again. Woo, man. Man, really makes it tough for us nowadays. And Noah and his sons swore that they would not eat any blood that was in any flesh. And he made a covenant before Yahuwah Elohim forever. You hear that? Covenant.
Yeah, there he goes
forever.
Again. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Throughout all the generations of the earth. All. He doesn't say except or but this one. All the earth. In this month. And now what month was it? We're in the 3rd month, right?
Exactly.
On this account, he spake that thou shalt make a covenant with the children of Israel in this month upon the mountain with an oath, and that thou should sprinklest blood upon them because of all the words of the covenant which Yahuwah made with them forever. You see there? Did you see that? That just linked what happened on Mount Sinai with
Yeah.
what Noah did in the
Yeah.
third month after the flood, when the rainbow was given and the
Mhm.
covenant was made between him, the earth, and Yahuwah.
There is so much in there. That's wow. There's so much. There's a
Right.
lot. There's a lot there. That's not just one thing.
And we
'Cause
still
you-
cut, and it's still going too. Like this, they ain't done. There's so much more here, right?
Yeah.
But we have to see. I don't doubt that a lot of people who are on here have read this. Okay,
Right.
but there's reading something and
Mhm.
comprehending it on just an everyday level, and there's reading something and understanding it to the point where you are able to correlate the data.
Yes.
And what we have to be able to do, we have to be able to read this. I know y'all have read it. This is the
Mhm.
part where we
Mhm.
correlate that data, and then it starts to get overwhelming, right? You know,
Making the notes, and once you start making notes and you keep writing, you keep just more adding on. I just Shabbat. I'm just Shabbat, which is phenomenal. And then everybody's like, oh, they're not. And here's another thing, which eventually we will do a study on the eating, Look how important it is for Father that he even mentions, don't be eating food with blood. Don't eat it. You know what I mean?
It's in the original covenant.
That's a dietary. Also, it's a dietary, but it's also part of the covenant. The covenant, which is phenomenal. Keep going. I'm enjoying this. I love this. Go for it.
All right. Let's see here. Okay, I'm just gonna start in the middle of that next one. And on this account, he spake to thee that thou should make a covenant with the children of Israel in this month upon the mountain with an oath, and that thou should sprinkle blood upon them because of all the words of the covenant which Yahuwah made with them forever. And this testimony is written concerning you, that you should observe it continually, so that you should not eat on any day any blood of beast or birds or during all the days of the earth. And the man who eateth the blood of beast or of cattle or of birds during all the days of the earth, he and his seed shall be rooted out of the land.
Oh, I thought that wasn't important. Wait a minute, I thought that was important. All those people are like,
you don't even have a place.
Those, that they come on. A lot of people that come on. Oh, I like medium rare. No, well done. Well done.
I have to jump in here and say you're wrong on that, Jose. I was talking to a meat slaughtering company that does kosher kill, and they do it by the biblical standard. And he says when you drain the meat out, when you cut their throat to let the blood all drain out, and you let it hang there, all you have left is meat. So if you eat meat medium rare, it's not, as you're saying, that you're going against it, because all the blood's already drained out. You're just eating the meat. It's just how you like your meat.
There's a word for it. There's a word for what that's called, and it's not the blood. It's I can't remember the word for it off the top of my head, but yeah, no, I think you're right, Bo. As far as I understand, but hey, you know what? If it causes
Psalms 119 did a great breakdown too in it.
Mm-hmm. I just say that I've seen people that I don't know. I've seen people that I've even been to a restaurant that they brought me to a restaurant and it was just gross. I just saw blood coming out of that thing. I was like, I don't think
it's just the juices. It's not the blood. It's just the juices. It's a different thing.
I stand corrected. I have no problem with accepting that. I mean, it's just like I said, I look into it and research it, but like you said, it's the juices. But if I see blood,
also, another thing to know about blood and meat, just so that like if there's ever any doubt, blood typically, if that meat's been preserved for any length of time past a couple of days from the slaughter, blood makes meat go bad very quickly. And so if the blood is in the meat ain't going to be no good. So if the meat has been aged or something like that, you're fine. Like the blood curdle, it rots the meat. That's what makes your meat spoil, is the blood inside of it. Just so if it's there after a little while and after it's been killed, there ain't blood in it because it hasn't gone bad. You know, the blood makes the meat go bad.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But when you drain it out, that's what saves and preserves the meat.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. So, but it's still there. That's still an ordinance, you know, and there's a lot behind it, and we shouldn't be eating the blood, but let's keep it. So that was a part of this. And there's no limit of days, for it is forever. They shall observe it throughout their generations, so that they may continue supplicating on your behalf with blood before the altar every day at the time of morning and evening. They shall seek forgiveness on your behalf perpetually before Yahuwah, that they may keep it and not be rooted out. Okay, so y'all understand what that just said?
Clarify it.
It pretty much it gives a Numbers 28 reference for the morning and evening sacrifice, and a Leviticus 17:2 for that sacrifice as well. So what I understand that I just read here is that he knows that Israel's going to mess up all the way back here. And the reason why that blood is no good to us is not only just because the life is in it and that you could be rooted out of the land, but that blood is going to be used on the behalf of Israel after they've messed up for their morning and evening offerings for forgiveness.
Yes.
So he's already, that's right there in verse 14.
Didn't we were talking about that on atonement, right? When they were using the blood.
Well, they were using the blood on atonement, but also for the daily sacrifices, the morning and the evening.
The Shabbat, the Shabbat sacrifices, when the temple was up. Wow. So he's already pre-sending it up and letting them know.
Right.
That's crazy.
There's a rhyme and a reason to everything. There's nothing.
Yes.
Nothing that he commands. He says that none of the words that comes out of his mouth are going to fall. They're all going to turn back to him.
Yes. You know? Amazing.
Okay. All right. Here we go. And he gave to Noah, his sons, a sign that there should not again be a flood on the earth. And he set his bow in the cloud for a sign of the eternal covenant, that there should not again be a flood on the earth to destroy it all the days of the earth. So there it is. There's the sign that was given. Okay. For this reason, it is ordained and written on the heavenly tables that they should celebrate the Feast of Weeks in this month once a year, to renew the covenant every year.
That's every year.
See that?
That's forever.
Renew the covenant every year. People ask, why do you mikvah on Shavuot? Because we're renewing the covenant.
Yeah.
That's what it says to do. And this whole festival was celebrated in heaven from the day of creation till the days of Noah. Okay, so this is such a big deal, guys. They did this that long.
Here's a good question. Was the temple built when this was being sold to do?
No. Temple didn't have nothing to do with nothing.
So why is it like people are saying, oh, well, we can't do this because of that, because the temple. I said, wait a minute. Wasn't this said in Mount Sinai? Wasn't it on the holy mountain? Didn't he say to do this? It's just what I don't comprehend is if he says forever, that means he didn't say, oh, my temple's built or my temple is not built. No, this still has to be done. This has to be done every once a year, regardless of the issue, whether there is a temple. Am I right or am I wrong? I know you guys heard.
You're totally right. Men's traditions have no bearing on what the Father commands us to do.
Exactly.
And just because a man says, well, we built this building and it's not there no more, so we can't do this. Well, they're just living in open rebellion, because that's not what it commands. And look, I got to do something here because this is super important. I don't want to break our thought here, but look, there's something else that's connected here.
Yes.
Exodus 34:22. Let me read it for you.
Okay. Do you agree, Bo? You agree?
I agree to that part.
Right? This was said on Mount Sinai. You know what I'm saying? There was nothing built there.
Prior to me coming to the name, I was in a Pentecostal church,
Mhm.
and the Holy Spirit took me out of that church because the pastor would set up on the pulpit saying that we're the church of the book of Acts. And the Holy Spirit that day said, if you want to be the church of the book of Acts, don't you think you should probably go read it? And I actually went home that Sunday and opened up the book of Acts and started reading it. And then the Holy Spirit started pointing out the Messiah, synagogue, Sabbath all throughout that book of Acts. And so about a month ago, I sent the pastor a response and told him I thanked him so much for saying that. And that's what brought me out of his church, is because his church does not line up properly to the book of Acts. And so how can you proclaim that you're a church of the book of Acts when you don't line up to it?
Exactly.
And so when I was praying about it, I was asking the Father to send me somewhere, because I wanted him to send me to a place of his desire. And I wanted confirmation that it was from him. And he kept sending me confirmation to a place called Romanos here in Oklahoma. And Romanos, the more I started looking into it, the more it had signs all throughout that was pointing to the Messiah, because it has a rock that water comes out of it, and it's a natural spring, and the natural spring is clear crystal water, and it has like a little mikvah pool that comes outside of that, and it's been around for years. And so the more I started looking into it, I thought, okay, I have to go there on Shabbat and read mikvah myself in the name of Yahuwah and Yahushua, because I wanted that name instead of a name that's only been around for 500 years. It's not his name, and I didn't want to be baptized under titles anymore. And what's interesting is when we were setting up camp and stuff, the guy was coming around talking to us, and he said something that was interesting. He goes, you know that what's interesting about that water is that water stays 50 degrees year round.
Wow.
And that was to me like confirmation that Yahuwah was guiding me to the right place. And I mean, it was just neat, everything that went down in the whole thing. So that's where I try to go every Shabbat and remix myself every year, is that place.
Beautiful. That's wonderful. Yeah, so it's like Toby, whenever you're ready.
Okay, so Exodus 34:22. I'm sorry. 34:22. It says, and thou shalt observe the feast of weeks of the first fruits of wheat harvest, and the feast of ingathering at the year's end. Okay, so it says, whenever it says Exodus 34:22, it says observe the feast of weeks. That word weeks is H 7620, and that word is Shabua.
Amazing. See,
Shabua, the Sabbath, the seventh day, right? It's all connected.
It's all connected.
It's all connected.
There's nothing that Father won't do that's not connected, and he's true to his word. So
for everybody that's still trying to make this connection, the Feast of Weeks, okay, which is 3 different times. You have during unleavened bread, you have Shabbat, and then you have the harvest gathering at Sukkot. All 3 of those are connected to the covenant that Yahuwah made for the 7th day covenant with Adam.
So it's safe to say that while you continue these festivals, you're still in the covenant. The day you stop doing these festivals is the day where you need to fix it and go back and start doing these festivals, because these are festivals of Father. They're not just festivals for tradition.
No, they are of the covenant. Okay, so I tell this to my parents all the time. They're pedigreed in the Southern Baptist understanding of things. My dad went to seminary, but I tell them all the time, the only way you can be in the covenant is if you do what the covenant says. And you have to keep these days because they're a part of the covenant. It's not just somebody said to do it. Yahuwah said this is a part of the covenant. If you don't do these, then
you're not part of his covenant.
Oh, now what does it say in Matthew 7:21-23? Master. But I shall declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. He goes, it says, Master, I've done this for you. I've went to the churches, I went to the prisons and I visited the prisoners. I went to the hospitals. I visited the sick. I gave to the poor. He goes,
I prayed for them. We did great works in your name.
Yeah, we did all this. But he goes, I don't know you.
Depart from me. I never knew you.
Depart from me. And that's
what I find interesting with that particular scripture when I broke it down and did a deeper study on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe that Yahushua is actually referring to the Christians, as hard and as blunt as that sounds. But if you think about it, if you say the law is done away with, are you not teaching a lawless doctrine?
You are.
Well,
you are. And when I came to that conclusion and I see pastors standing up on the pulpit and they say that the law has been done away with, that we're under grace now, well, what they realize they're not, I think they're kind of blinded or whatever. But when they stand on the pulpit and say that, if I was in the congregation, I'd get up and run because they're proclaiming that they're teaching an antichrist doctrine right there on the pulpit.
Yeah.
You're right. Yep.
And so all those people, when people like us, Toby and Jose, when we come against, or not come against, but when we meet people and the common denominator is, oh, well, the law's done away with, we're under grace. And the more I think about it, is that scripture right there is the Messiah speaking to them on the judgment day because they're proclaiming all this. And he says, but I knew you not because you're lawlessness.
Right. Yeah, I got to speed up here. There's so much that we got to
go for it.
Okay. All right. Here we go. But Abraham observed it. No, I started 18. And this whole festival was celebrated in the heavens from the day of creation till the days of Noah, 26 jubilees. So they celebrate this for 26 jubilees and 5 weeks of years. And Noah and his sons observed it for 7 jubilees and 1 week of years until the day of Noah's death. And from that day of Noah's death, his sons did away with it until the days of Abraham. That's why the promise comes to Abraham. Until the days of Abraham, and they ate blood. But Abraham observed it, and Isaac and Jacob and his children observed it up to thy days. So he's talking to Moses right now. Up to your days, Moses. And in thy days, the children of Israel forgot it until you celebrated it anew on this mountain. And they just celebrated. They just did it, right? Like he got pulled out from all them. You know, it even says that the 70 or 72 elders went up and they saw Yahuwah and didn't die.
Right.
All right. And do thou command the children of Israel to observe this festival. Here it is again. Observe this festival in all their generations for a commandment unto them.
That's a commandment.
Yes, a command.
It's a command. It's a command.
It's a command. You can't get around it. It's a command.
Wow.
One day in the year, in this month, they shall celebrate the festival. For it is the Feast of Weeks and the Feast of First Fruits. This feast is twofold and of a double nature. According to what is written and engraved concerning it, celebrate it. Right? So it's the day of covenant, but it's also a first fruit. Okay, so for I have written in the book of the first law, in that which I have written for thee, for you, that thou should celebrate it in its season, one day in the year. And I explained to thee its sacrifices that the children of Israel should remember and should celebrate it throughout their generations in this month, one day in every year. And on the new moon of the first month, and on the new moon of the fourth month. Okay, so this is on the first day of the first month, on the first day of the fourth month, and on the first day of the seventh month, and on the first day of the 10th month are the days of remembrance. And these and the days of the seasons in the 4 divisions of the year. Y'all caught that, right? We observe these. These are the spring and fall equinoxes and the winter and summer solstices, right? And we go off of the spring one to begin our year, right? And so that we can make it to the 14th day of the first month. And we also have the one in the 7th month. You know,
this is why the
You know what?
calendar is so important.
You know what I find interesting about the one that says on the first day of the first month?
Mhm.
When I went and read that, it says to set the tent to the tabernacle up. And what I find interesting is when you study that, the tent to the tabernacle, well, Yahushua is our tent to our tabernacle. He's our he's our core, he's our cornerstone. I mean, he's our everything as far as our living example of the living word of the Torah,
Right.
of Yahuwah, which is interesting. And on the first day of spring, what is creation doing? It's coming up out of the ground. It's all the flowers and trees, they're blooming, so they're praising creation.
The time of life is what it's called.
And I believe that Yahushua's birthday is the first day of spring, and creation is glorifying his birth by coming to life and giving life as the life creator.
And I find that super interesting because I think me and you talked about on the festivals, because me and you always have interesting, inspired by the Spirit, where you said that the day of escape could be on one of these festivals. Remember that we were talking.
I believe
about?
so. I believe that Passover is a foreshadow of the true believers being taken to the New Jerusalem. I believe Pentecost will be the day that maybe the churches, the people that are in the false religions, they're stuck in great tribulation at that point, and they realize that their religion did not save them, and they have to come out from that and actually line up to the Messiah. And I see that if the Spirit was poured out on a SHavot, and then the Spirit will be pulled off and out of this world on a SHavot, which would leave the ones left that are rebellious, and Yahuwah still loves them, and they will be the ones that will have the challenge of beheading or living of the world, so to speak.
I mean, I find it interesting where the first fruits. I think you. I was debating. I didn't remember which festival we were talking about, but I kind of like the first fruits too. You know what I mean? It could. I mean that.
Well, if you read.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If you read Joel 2 and you read Revelation 6:12, it's talking about the same event, because it says that sun will be darkened in both of them. And then it ends with the moon turning his blood red. Well, what's interesting is we know that the Messiah, when Passover happened, it would have been a full moon that year, and his ministry would have been at its fullest, and he sacrificed his life, and that's the reason why I believe that the moon turned his blood. So if the end and the beginning are the same, it would make sense for that event to be for the true bride to be taken to the New Jerusalem.
And also there's a mixed understanding of how they presented that as well, where they said that we were just going to disappear or whatever. No. When you read the old prophets and how they prophesied, it says that Father will send angels to come get you. It says it. And it's in Jeremiah, it's in Ezekiel. So all those that are interested and they want to know a little bit, do your research. Like we always say, don't listen to what we got to say. Do your research, and then you look. And it says that Father will send angels to come get you. Which for me was phenomenal. Not compared to the other version that they were saying that, what would happen. Every scripture tells you what's going to happen.
Well, what kind of sent me, I mean, I used to believe like Toby was saying that Shabbat was probably his birth, but the more I got to thinking, the Spirit kept pointing it out to the perfect sacrifice lamb, and the perfect sacrifice lamb in Leviticus, it says it has to be 1 year old. It doesn't say 1 year and 1 year and a half or 2 years. It says exactly 1 year. Well, the only way it would fit that is on the first day of the first month, he would have been born, and then Passover would have been coming up. Well, he's still considered a newborn by that time. So he passes that, and the next year would come around. It would be his birthday, and then he'd be a perfect sacrifice lamb. So I think his ministry was more of a 1 year ministry than a 3.5. And I think the Christians being taught that their Messiah, J, is 3.5 years, it's setting them up to accept the Antichrist Messiah when he shows up on the stage.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, I think that we can prove whenever he was born pretty thoroughly here in just a minute, so that we can all know, because that's a part of this. Let me finish reading this real quick. I mean, this is taking us but there's so much data here that we need to, correlate. So this has been good. And Noah ordained them. So right here, these 4 divisions of the years, these are written and ordained as a testimony forever. And Noah ordained them for himself as feast for the generations forever, so that they have become thereby a memorial unto him. And on the new moon of the first month, he was bidden to make for himself an ark. And on that day, the earth became dry, and he opened the ark and saw the earth. And on the new moon of the 4th month, the mouths of the depths of the abyss beneath were closed. And on the new moon of the 7th month, all the mouths of the abyss of the earth were opened, and the waters began to descend into them. And on the new moon of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains were seen, and Noah was glad. And on this account, he ordained them for himself as feast, for a memorial forever. And thus are they ordained. So it's forever, once again. And they placed them on the heavenly tablets. Each had 13 weeks from one to another passed. Their memorial from the first to the second, and from the second to the third, and from the third to the fourth. And all of the days of the commandments will be 52 weeks, or 52 weeks of days, and these will make the entire year complete. Thus it is engraven and ordained on the heavenly tables, and there is no neglecting this commandment for a single year, or from year to year. And command now the children of Israel that they observe the years according to this reckoning, 364 days, and these will constitute a complete year, and they will not disturb its time from its days and from its feast, for everything will fall out in them according to their testimony, and they will not leave out any day nor disturb any feast. But if they do neglect and do not observe them according to this commandment, his command, then they will disturb all their seasons, and the years will be dislodged from this order, and they will disturb the season, and the year will be dislodged, and they will neglect their ordinances. And all the children of Israel forget, and will not find the path of the year, and will forget the new moons and the seasons, and they will go wrong as to all the order of the years. For I know, and from henceforth shall I declare it unto thee, and it is not of my own devising, for the book lies written before me. And on the heavenly tables the division of days is ordained, lest they forget the feast of the covenant, and walk according to the feast of the Gentiles, after their error and after their ignorance. Yeah, I hope everybody's catching all this and correlating this, because he just said that the calendar is absolutely important. There's 364 days in a year, and if you are associated with the covenant, then this is what you do, and this is how you order your time. Part of the high priest and the priestly orders was to keep the time. It's very important. And notice, I got to point it out. Do the Christians keep these feasts and festivals of the covenant, or do they keep the feast of the Gentiles? We all know the answer to that, and it's right here. lest they forget the feast of the covenant and walk according to the feast of the Gentiles after their error and after their ignorance. This is a big reason why the Christian church doesn't want to acknowledge this book, because they know exactly what they're doing. This is all wrapped up in Shavuot. For there will be those who will assuredly make observations of the moon. Oh, here we go. Now it disturbeth the seasons and cometh in from year to year 10 days too soon. So you can't go off the moon, it says right here. For this reason, the years will come upon them when they will disturb the order and make an abominable day, the day of testimony, and an unclean day, a feast day. And they will confound all the days of the set apart with the unclean, and the unclean day with the set apart. For they will go wrong as to the months, and the Sabbaths, and the feast, and the Jubilees. For this reason I command and testify to thee, that thou mayest testify to them. For after thy death thy children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only. And for this reason they will go wrong as to the new moons and seasons and Sabbaths and festivals, and they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh. Excuse me. Wow. Okay, so that's all Shavuot. This is all concerning Shavuot. This is all somebody telling Moses history and then what he's supposed to do, right? And now let's go a little bit further. Like I said, these are awesome books. You can get so much understanding from these. We're going to go to the 15th chapter now.
Mm-hmm.
13. All right. The first fruits, the feast of first fruits, circumcised, instituted, the promise of Isaac's birth, circumcision ordained for all Israel. Okay, now Genesis 21 covers some of this too, okay? And in the 5th year of the 4th week of this Jubilee, in the 3rd month, in the middle of the month, notice that, all right? Abraham celebrated the feast of first fruits of the grain harvest. And he offered new offerings on the altar, the first fruits of the produce unto Yahuwah, a heifer and a goat, a sheep on the altar as a burnt sacrifice unto Yahuwah. Their fruit offerings and their drink offerings he offered upon the altar with frankincense. And Yahuwah appeared to Abraham and said unto him, I am Elohim Almighty. Approve thyself before me and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and I will multiply thee exceedingly. Okay, guys.
Mm-hmm.
What this is Shavuot, and Yahuwah comes to him on Shavuot and says, I'm going to give my covenant to you. All right, so you see what's going on. Behold, my ordinance is with thee, and thou wilt be the father of many nations. Neither will thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name from henceforth forever shall be Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
For the father of many nations have I made thee, and I shall make thee very great, and I shall make thee into nations, and kings will come forth from thee. And I shall establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee throughout their generations for an eternal covenant, so that I may be a Elohim unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. Notice it says into thy seed, because in Genesis 21, what happens? Well, we haven't read it yet, but if you know the story, Abraham says, oh, this is all great, and I like it, but what is it to me? I don't even have a kid.
Yeah.
In Genesis 21 is where he gets the promise at this same time, right? When that promise will come to fruition, he in the 6th month, he's told at the time of life, you're going to have a kid, right? And so that at the time of it, Shavuot there's so many things going on in Shavuot, but here he is getting the covenant here. And then in Genesis 21, he receives the promise. What's the promise? A son to be given. Well, don't we have that promise too? let's keep reading. And Yahuwah said unto Abraham, as for thee, do thou keep my covenant, thou and thy seed after thee, and circumcise ye every male among you, and circumcise your foreskins, and it will be a token of an eternal covenant between me and you and the children. Of the 8th day ye will circumcise every male throughout your generation. So 8-day circumcision is tied to Shavuot right here with the covenant that Abraham did, right? So it matters. It means something. Every male throughout your generations, him that is born in the house, or whom ye have bought with money from any stranger, whom ye have acquired, who is not of thy seed. He that is born in thy house will surely be circumcised, and those whom thou hast bought with money will be circumcised, and my covenant will be in your flesh for an eternal ordinance. And the uncircumcised male who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin on the 8th day, that soul will be cut off from his people, for he hath broken my covenant.
What? Anyone
Broke the covenant. Yep.
Anybody wants to add to that?
Yep.
I thought that wasn't important. I thought that was not important.
It has to do with the covenant, you know. I know that as Gentiles, a lot of us didn't get that 8-day circumcision, but guess what? It doesn't just include them. Before it talks about the 8-day circumcision, guess who was circumcised on the 8th day? Guess who else wasn't? Abraham.
Well,
Abraham.
Oh yeah. And how old was he?
All his
How
children.
old was he? How old was he?
Exactly. He's in his 90s, isn't he?
Yeah.
89,
He was in his 90s. Yep. Yeah.
So he's not circumcised yet.
No.
Right? But
no.
if you are in the covenant and you choose not to circumcise your child, then you have broke the covenant. That's what this is saying. That doesn't say that if you weren't in the covenant and then you come into it, that it doesn't say it's not necessary. No. You know, and I know what Paul says. I know what he says. Oh, I wish they would cut it off. I get it. I know what he's saying. But guess what? We got commands from the Father and we got commands from the Messiah. They override Paul. And the commands are we need to observe them. They need to be observed. I understand where it says in the Old Testament that he wishes that our hearts were circumcised. I get it. But you know what else he says? He says that unless you're circumcised, you can't partake in the Passover.
Yeah. Doesn't mean that, let's clear that. It doesn't mean that, you know, you're not saved. We're not saying that. We're not saying that. But there's certain, like you're saying, there's things that Father has already stated that need to be done. That you need to. And he gave us the perfect example of Abraham. Abraham was already 90-something years old. And when Abraham was told that, he said he had to do it. He did it all his children. Why? Because he loved who? Father. So when a lot of people have this situation, let me explain. I can talk about it because I was in my 40s when I got circumcised. Okay, so I did not get circumcised when I was a child. All right, and so I had no problem. It was just my testimony very small, and I want to add to this. This is why I say it right now, because I was getting pains and down there, and then also I was, you know, being taught in my heart where it was something I needed to get done. Okay, my father, he was 60-something years old. Okay, my father was 60-something when he got circumcised. So it's not about how old you are. It's not about whether it's important or not. It's about you love Father and you're willing in your heart to obey. When you do that, after that, I mean, the healing process was supernatural. The guy was like, I've never seen no one heal so fast. You understand? But it's because you got to understand, a lot of people, like, I don't know, you and I know, Toby, Bo, you and I know that sometimes this topic right here with the circumcision is an issue. It's an issue with a lot of people. Oh, but I'm about this. Listen, why would it be an issue if you are a child of Israel? If you're a child of Israel, if you love Father, if you love the Messiah, and you're not, why would it be an issue? Why would it? I mean, you love them, right? Then just do it. You know? Go for
right.
it.
If you're in the covenant, then you should do it. And he goes on to say more of that. And Elohim said unto Abraham, as for Sarah, thy wife, her name will no more be called Sari, but Sarah will be her name, and I shall bless her and give thee a son by her, and I shall bless him, and he will become a nation, and kings of nations will proceed from him. And Abraham fell on his face and rejoiced, and said in his heart, shall a son be born to him that is, listen to this, 100 years old? He's even older than we thought, right? And shall Sarah, who is 90 years old, bring forth? So Sarah was 90. And Abraham said unto Elohim, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. And Elohim said, yea. And Sarah also will bear thee a son, and thou wilt call his name Isaac. And I shall establish my covenant with him as an everlasting covenant, and for his seed after him. And as for Ishmael, also have I heard thee. And behold, I shall bless him, and make him great, and multiply him exceedingly. And he will beget 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant shall I establish with Isaac, whom Sarah will bear to thee in these days in the next year. Okay, when is this? When is this? This is on the middle of the third month, on that day.
Yeah.
I'm going to confirm it in a couple of verses. Excuse me. And he left off speaking with him, and Elohim went up from Abraham, and Abraham did according as Elohim had said unto him, and he took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and whom he had bought with money, every male in his house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin, and on the self same day was Abraham circumcised. Right there. It's the same day. This all happened at the same day, at the same time that we've been reading. And those born in the house, and all those whom had bought with money, and all that were children of the stranger, they were circumcised with him. This law is for all the generations forever. And there is no circumcision of the days, and no omission of one out of the 8 days, for it is sorry, let me reread that. This law is for all the generations forever, and there is no circumcision of the days, and no omission of one day out of the 8 days, for it is an eternal ordinance, ordained, also written on the heavenly tables. And everyone that is born, the flesh of those foreskin, is not circumcised on the 8th day, belongeth not to the children of the covenant with Yahuwah, which Yahuwah made with Abraham, but to the children of destruction. Nor is there, moreover, any sign on him that he is Yahuwah's, but he is destined to be destroyed and slain from the earth, and to be rooted out of the earth. For he hath broken the covenant, the Yahuwah our Elohim. For all the angels of the presence and all the angels of sanctification have been so created from the day of their creation. What did I just say? For all the angels of the presence and all the angels of sanctification have been so created from the day of their creation, and before the angels of the presence and the angel of sanctification, he has sanctified Israel, that they should be with him and with his set apart angels. He's saying the angels are circumcised right here, guys. I don't know if y'all caught that or not. They look like we do now, right? Like, thing. And do thou command the children of Israel, and let them observe the sign of this covenant for their generations as an eternal ordinance, and they will not be rooted out of the land. You hear that? It's talking to the children of Israel on Mount Sinai, right? Let them know that this is a sign of the covenant for their generations as an eternal ordinance, and they will not be rooted out of the land. For the command is ordained for a covenant, that they should observe it forever among all the children of Israel. For Ishmael and his sons and his brothers and Esau, Yahuwah did not cause to approach him, and he chose them not, because they are the children of Abraham, because he knew them, but he chose Israel to be his people. And he sanctified it, gathered it from amongst all the children of men, for there are many nations and many peoples, and all are his. And over all hath he placed spirits in authority to lead them astray from him. You hear that? But over Israel, he did not appoint any angel or spirit, for he alone is their ruler, and he will preserve them and require them at the hand of his angels and his spirits, and at the hand of all his powers, in order that he may preserve them and bless them, and that they may be his, and he may be theirs from henceforth forever. And now I announce unto thee that the children of Israel will not keep to this ordinance, and they will not circumcise their sons according to this law, for in the flesh of their circumcision they will omit this circumcision of their sons, and all of them sons of Belair will leave their sons uncircumcised as they were born. Look, I just got to interject real quick here. If you read after this point in Exodus, it's not until, that we get to Joshua that we find that they pick up the circumcision again and begin keeping these set apart days. You don't find that after this is given, you don't find them doing that. And he tells you right here that they will not keep this. They will not keep true to this ordinance. They will not circumcise their sons according to all this law, right? And they don't. And what happens once they cross over and they're about to go get after Jericho? What time of the year is it? It's right there close to the middle of that first month, right? And they got to walk around the wall for 7 days. That happens during unleavened bread, right? So they get circumcised and they keep the Passover, and then they go march on Jericho. They got circumcised, guys, right? So they weren't doing this. They weren't keeping this, just like it says here, okay? And there will be great wrath from Yahuwah against the children of Israel, because they have forsaken his covenant and turned aside from his word, and provoked and blasphemed, insomuch as they do not observe the ordinance of this law. For they have treated their members like the Gentiles, so that they may be removed and rooted out of the land. What does that mean? They treated their members like the Gentiles. What was he just talking about? Circumcision. It doesn't say that, we know what they did, and, Balaam's curse, and how, the Moabite women, got them to, eat things that were sacrificed to others. And they're not talking about that. They're talking about the circumcision. That's what this text is talking about. It's not even talking about all that. So you can't bring that into it. Some people may try. It's not talking about that. It's talking about circumcision. So they may be removed and rooted out of the land, and there will be no more, be pardon or forgiveness unto them, so that there should be forgiveness and pardon for all their sins of this eternal error. Now, here comes Yeshua, right? So,
Toby, let's take a moment to say hello to the brothers and sisters that are with us. Let's say hello to Leo Yahoo. We are the Sons of Light. Hello, Leo, and thank you for being with us. We're also going to say Shabbat Shalom to Oki and the Smokies. He says Shabbat Shalom to all of us. And a sister is Susan Lawson. Shabbat Shalom. So hello,
Shabbat
sister.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, y'all.
All right, go for it.
All right, so just to kind of keep showing you that these timelines mean something. The birth and circumcision of Isaac, Genesis 21, 1 through 4, right? Let's see. Here, let's read Genesis 21. All right. I don't know how to stop sharing this. How do I stop sharing this?
Just press
Stop sharing.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go. Then you can just Then you present it again to whatever you want to show.
I think I have eSword here. Let me look real quick. We'll just look at Genesis 21 real quick.
So while you do that, let's take a little pause while you get that set up. I'm gonna talk about a little bit while you get that ready. Brother Kerry is not with us because Brother Kerry has a couple things he was doing, but I do want to put Brother Kerry's stream, one of his songs, Water and the Thirsty, and that way whoever wants to get water or whatever they feel like doing at this moment, they give them a break in time while Brother Toby gets ready. So I'm going to share this, and let's listen to Brother Kerry.
dry land be glad, and let the desert rejoice. So the righteous shall spring among the grass, like willows by the streams of water. Make firm those knees, and strengthen your hands. Say to those with anxious heart, be strong, do not fear. See, your Elohim is coming. I pour water on the thirsty, and my floods on the dry ground. I pour my spirit and my blessing on your offspring. When the poor see water and the tongues fell for thirst, I, Yahuwah, do answer them. The Elohim of Israel shall not forsake them. Rain down from heaven, pour down your righteousness. Let the earth be opened up to receive her Messiah, Yahushua. I pour water on the thirsty, and my floods on the dry ground. I pour my spirit and my blessing on your offspring. I pour water on the thirsty, and my floods on the dry ground. I pour my spirit and my blessing on your offspring. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie.
All right. So we had brother Carrie's music, and I like to always push his music because I love it. And we have another brother that showed up today. Yahuwah's love, Shabbat Shalom, love the song. Awesome, brother. Welcome. All right, so take it over, brother Toby.
All right, just kind of moving forward. I'm going to try this again. I'm going to show my screen. I'm going to Genesis 21.
Okay.
So we're talking about these events right here. If you're just coming into it, Isaac's birth is where we're at. The giving of the law, giving of the Spirit, Yahushua's conception, and also we just talked about everything that went on as far as with Noah and what all that in Jubilee 6. So let's look at Genesis 21 real quick.
Mm-hmm.
See if I can make this happen.
Yeah, just hit the button, present, and you can go look on the tabs that you got open, and you can just tap on it, and it'll just pop right up.
All right, share this screen. All right. Is that full screen for y'all, or do I got to bring it full screen on mine?
That's fine. I see it very well.
Good.
That works. All right. All right. So it says Genesis 21:1, and Yahuwah visited Sarah as he had said, and Yahuwah did for Sarah as he had spoken. So Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age. Look at these words. At the appointed time of which Yahuwah spoke to him. And Abraham called the name of his son who was born to him, whom Sarah bore to him, Yitzhak, or we say Isaac in English, but it's Yitzhak. And Abraham circumcised his son Yitzhak when he was 8 days old, as Elohim had commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Yitzhak was born to him. And Sarah, Elohim has made me laugh, and everyone who hears of it laughs with me. Okay, and here it is, next one. She says she's too old. Okay, so now let's go back to Jubilees, and let's get just a little more. I guess I'm going to stop sharing real quick, or just, stop sharing. Now I'm going to add another window. We're going to do this one. Okay. Share this one. Oh, no.
Big words.
Let's try one more time. I clicked the wrong box.
That's all right.
Share screen. Allow. All right, there it is. Okay, so we're not too much further than we were, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is chapter 16. Read some in it. All right, so and on the new moon of the 4th month, so this is kind of walking you through this. They appeared unto Abraham at the oak of Mamre and talked to him, announced to him again that a son would be given by Sarah his wife. She laughed, right? And in this month, Yahuwah executed his judgments on Sodom and Gomorrah. Keep going, right? We get all the way over here. And behold, it was commanded and engraven concerning all his seed on the heavenly tables to remove them and not root them out, and to execute judgment upon them like the judgment of Sodom, and to leave no seed of man on earth on the day of condemnation. Abraham moved from Hebron and departed, dwelt between Kadesh and Shur in the mountains, and Ger. And in the middle of the 5th month, he moved from thence and dwelt in the well of the oath, at the well of the oath, Shabbat, oath, right? And in the middle of the 6th month, Yahuwah, you hear this? And in the middle of the 6th month, Yahuwah visited Sarah and did unto her as he had spoken, and she conceived. Now, let me finish these next 2 verses, but I want to compare this to another place.
Mm-hmm.
And she bare a son in the 3rd month, in the middle of the month, at the time of which Yahuwah had spoken to Abraham on the festival of the first fruits of the harvest. So confirm that he gave them this covenant on the festival of the first fruits of the harvest, on Shavot, and that this is when the son that was promised was to be given, right? And so here it is. She bore him on this same day.
Pull
right?
it up, bro. Yeah, pull it up.
We had a little timeline. So sorry about that, guys.
Sorry.
And Abraham circumcised his son on the 8th day, and he was the first that was circumcised according to the covenant which is ordained forever.
Mm-hmm.
Those some interesting wording there. All right, all right. Okay, so let's just read this. And in the 6th year of the 4th week, we came to Abraham to the well of oaths, and we appeared unto him as we had told Sarah that we should return to her, and she would have conceived a son. And we returned in the 7th month and found Sarah with child before us. Okay, so let's what happens whenever I add a window? Does that put two things up at the same time?
No.
All right. Well, let me throw this one up then. Okay, so I want to at this window. Oh, it
There
does.
you go. Yeah, you
Are
can
we
skip
showing
back
both
and
at
forth.
the same time?
Yeah, you can skip back and forth. Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Okay, well, here, let me.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, it's got to let me click on it.
Yeah, yeah.
There we go. Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
That's all right. That's all right.
You're
Okay, is
good.
it up now? Is the Bible up?
Yep.
I can see it. Yeah, we can see it. We can see it.
Okay, I just want to go right here and all right. So let's scroll down. We got the birth of John the Baptist, and here we go. Right here. This is what I want to talk about. Now we just saw this wording, and about in the 6th month they came to her and she conceived, right? Okay, so let's just look at this. And then he was born in the middle of the 3rd month. Okay, so in the 6th month, the messenger Gabriel was sent by Elohim to a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a maiden engaged to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David. And the maiden's name was Miriam. And the messenger coming to her said, "Greetings, favored one, the master is with you. Blessed are you among women." But she was greatly disturbed at his word and wondered what kind of greeting this was. And the messenger said to her, "Do not be afraid, Miriam, for you have found favor with Elohim. And see, you shall conceive in your womb and shall give birth to a son, and his name, and call his name Yeshua. And he shall be great and shall be called the Son of the Most High, and Yahuwah Elohim shall give him the throne of his father David. And over the house of Yaakov forever." That's where that covenant came from, right? "And there shall be no end to his reign." And Miriam said to the messenger, "How shall it be, since I do not know a man?" And the messenger answering said to her, "The set-apart Spirit shall come upon you, and the power of the Most High shall overshadow you. And for that reason, the set-apart one born of you shall be called Son of Elohim. And see, Elisheva, your relative, she also conceived a son in her old age, and this is now the 6th month to her who was called barren." So this is her 6th month of conception, because with Elohim no matter shall be impossible. And Miriam said, "See, the female servant of Yahuwah, let it be to me according to your word." And the messenger went away from her. And Miriam arose in those days and went into the hill country with haste. So she got up after this happened and went into the hill country with haste quickly to a city of Yehuda, and entered into the house of Zechariah and greeted Elisheba, her cousin. They just told her about it, what she was. She's in her 6th month, right? And it came to be when Elisheba heard the greeting of Miriam, listen, the baby leaped in her womb. And Elisheba was filled with the set-apart Spirit and called out with a loud voice and said, "Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb. And who am I that the mother of my master should come to me? For look, when the sound of your greeting came to my ears, the baby in my womb leaped for joy. Blessed is she who believed, for that which Yahuwah has said to her shall be accomplished." Okay, now notice, it says, "And called out with a voice, blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb." She conceived in the 6th month, guys. She's got fruit in her womb that just got blessed by the set-apart Spirit speaking through Elisheba, through the one that was in her, Yochanan ben Zechariah, her baby that's going to be born in 3 more months in the 9th month. Right? You see, this is all tied together. So, the son to be given, right? He comes in the 3rd month, at the middle of it. Isn't that the promise to the Gentiles? Isn't that the promise that that Moshe gives on the mountain, right? Not on Mount Sinai, but he says that one like him Yahuwah will raise up, and that Navi Emet you shall hear, and you shall do everything that he commands.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, you'll be cut off forever. He's talking about the prophet. He's talking about Yahshua. He's telling them one's promised to come. The one promised. The child promised. This is it. This is that promised child right here. Just like Abraham had a son that was promised to him. Isaac is a type and shadow of Yeshua. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. So let's see. I'm going to attempt to stop sharing real quick so I can share something else. Stop sharing. All right. I think it is super crazy, guys, how we've been talking for over an hour now about something, and we've just read through a couple of chapters. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much, as we've seen, that everything. Sorry, guys, I'm sitting outside on my porch.
That's okay.
But everything is hinged on this day.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is pulled back to Shavuot, right?
Yeah.
And so let me just pull this up real quick.
And like you said, the beauty of it is that there's so much. It's not just one thing. There's a consistency of a lot of things being said here. A lot of commandments that are all being put together. And that's why I said it's so important to know the festivals, because the festivals guide you. It just confirms everything that is in Torah from beginning to end. And that's why, I mean, you're doing a hell of a job, great job. One of the brothers right here, and I do, because I always acknowledge brothers and sisters. He says, great study so far. I finally started to make my notes on my eSword before I use the Notepad app. LOL. Yeah, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. It's about studying and making notes, and that's exactly what Brother Toby does. I always put my brother as a scholar, as a messenger, because Brother Toby studies. Brother Bo studies, I study, and that's the one thing. You can't teach something if you don't know it, if you don't put very detailed. And Brother Toby's doing some great, I mean, super duper. So, keep going. Go for it.
All right, y'all ready? Okay, so we're back in Exodus. Okay, and we've talked about this, but we haven't read it, so we're gonna read it. I'm gonna skip forward a little bit because it's a lot to read if I don't skip just a little bit, right? So, but just to show y'all that timeline that I talked about, to establish what's going on, and then we're gonna jump into the New Testament real quick, after this. Okay. So Exodus 19, in the third new month after the children of Israel had come out of the land of Mitzrayim, on this day they came to the wilderness of Sinai. Okay, so what day did they come out?
That's right. On the
they kept
day
the Passover, didn't they? What day was that?
Yeah.
So they came out that evening,
Passover,
the night of the 14th.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
So whenever the sun came up, it was the 15th. It was the middle of the third month. So,
you mean not when the sun goes down?
No, when the sun comes up. Children of light, we can go back to Genesis if we need to. But I think we're all on the same page, So it's at that same time in the third month on the 15th day, they came to the wilderness of Sinai. For they set out from Rephidim and had come to the wilderness of Sinai and camped in the wilderness. So Yisrael camped there before the mountain. And Moshe went up to Elohim, and Yahuwah called to him from the mountain, saying, this is what you are to say to the house of Yaakov, and declare to the children of Israel. You have seen what I did to the Mitzrites, and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. And now, if you diligently obey my voice and shall guard my covenant, then you shall be my treasured possession above all the peoples, for all the earth is mine. We saw that a while ago in Jubilees, didn't we? And you shall be to me a reign of priests and a set-apart nation. But only them, and that doesn't count for the people who come later on, who all the other stuff happens. No, it doesn't say that. No. It says, and you shall be to me a reign of priests and a set apart nation. Those are the words which you are to speak to the children of Israel. Right? So this is him. This is him saying, like, hey, if you do what I say, then you'll be something special to me and I'll protect you. What does that
Well,
sound like?
another scripture be good with that is Revelation 22:14. It goes along with what you're saying.
Okay, all right. We'll come right back to this, but let's go to Revelations 22:14. 22:14. Blessed are those doing his commands, so that the authority shall be theirs unto the tree of life and to enter through the gates into the city. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no. All right, let's go back.
Yeah, that was just footnotes. That's all.
Yeah, it threw me off there for 1 second, maybe two. All right. So what he's done is he's given a proposal. Diligently obey my voice and guard my covenant, and you shall be. So he's given a proposal, right? And he tells him go back down. So what's going on here? This is the covenant going on. So here's the proposal. Do you want it, right? And then Moshe came and called to the elders of the people and set before them all these words which Yahuwah commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, all that Yahuwah has spoken, we shall do. So Moshe brought back the words of the people to Yahuwah. So you catch that?
Yep.
Yahuwah solicited them. Hey, obey my voice. You can be my people, my treasured possession. Moshe told them, they said, everything you say, we will do. So they said yes. They said yes to the proposal.
Which is what a marriage, that's your marriage certificate between the father and the people. That's
that. And that's how we understand it in our society with marriage, because that's like the most, that's the most sacred covenant that you can enter into. But this is not marriage. We are not, men in this covenant are not gay or homosexuals. We are not going to the bridal chamber with another man. That's not what this is talking about. It's merely trying to convey the depth of this covenant, like what it is we're doing. Yeah. It's and the most serious covenant that we know of, and this is more serious than that, is the marriage covenant. But
the covenant itself.
But there are a couple of things that are a little bit different. This isn't a marriage between men and men going on here.
No. It's more of a commitment. It's a commitment. It's an obey. Yes. It's a commitment. But that's what I said, marriage. But I mean, don't take it literal as a man and woman thing. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is that you're marrying the word. It's a commitment to your father. You're obeying, right? And you're going to follow that proposal that he tells you. You are part of my covenant. That means you will be my people. That's what that means.
Something that keeps coming to mind that I think could clear all this up is the word akkad. Means one unit as a family.
Yes, akkad. Perfect.
That's right. That's right. And Moses, he came back and called to the elders, set before them all the words, and all the people answered, everything you say, we shall do. So Moshe brought back the word of the people to Yahuwah. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, see, I am coming to you in the thick cloud so that the people hear when I speak with you and believe you forever. And Moshe reported to the people. So he came back to him and said, okay, he's going to come to me in a cloud and y'all are going to hear him talk to me, okay? So that y'all believe that what I'm telling you he's saying is the truth and you'll believe forever, okay? So he tells them that. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, go to the people and set them apart today and tomorrow, and they shall wash their garments. And they shall be prepared by the third day. For on the third day, Yahuwah shall come down upon Mount Sinai before the eyes of all the people. Okay, so I want y'all to understand this. They're just giving us all these timestamps, right? So they got there, right? At the same time they came out of Israel, they made camp. Out of Egypt, and they made camp. And then what happens? Yahuwah, then Moshe, after they make camp, he goes up on a mountain. And that same day, he comes back down. Everything you say, we'll do, right? So he goes back up. And now it's still the same time. And so Yahuwah says to him, go prepare them, get them ready. Because he says, have them prepare today, tomorrow, and on the next day, I'm coming to you. I'm going to talk to you in that cloud, right?
Right.
So 3 days later. So that's the 18th. That's not the 15th is the middle of the 30-day month. The 18th is when he's going to come talk to him in a cloud, right? And they need to be prepared. And that's whenever, there's some other stuff going down. So he came down from the mountain. He gives him these other commands. You shall make a border for all the people around, saying, take heed yourselves and do not go up on the mountain or touch a border of it. Whoever touches the mountain shall certainly be put to death. Not a hand is to touch it, but he shall certainly be stoned or shot with an arrow, whether man or beast, he shall not live. When the yobel sounds long, let them come near the mountain. Okay, so what he's saying is he's going to show before the eyes of the people that he is delivering the words of Yahuwah to them, okay? Now, I don't know about y'all, but if I'm just breaking this down here just so that we can kind of understand what's going on so you can be there. Put yourself there in your mind, right? So just think about that. These 3 days passed. He's giving him instructions for on this day, okay? So they haven't passed yet, but whenever it does, just think about it. Yahuwah talks to him out of a cloud. Now, Yahuwah knows what he's going to say. Moses don't know what he's going to say right now, okay? But Yahuwah knows what he's going to say. And what does he say? He says, come up here to me, right? Well, the last thing that Yahuwah needed was for Curious George to say, I'm going to follow. Well, let's all follow. Let's go up there and let's see it. Like, I want to see. This is awesome, amazing, right? Like, let's go. No. No, they don't get to do that. Moshe's going to go up there. And that's why he says, put a border up. Don't let them touch nothing, right? This is something crazy, like people have never seen before, guys. And so it's a natural thing to want to go and look some more, right? So he's giving them this forewarning. Don't do it. Don't follow Moshe up. Make a barrier. And to the point where not even an animal, any human or animal is to be killed that even touches the barrier, right? So he's saying this beforehand. And Moshe came down to the people and set the people apart, and they washed their garments. And he said to the people, be prepared by the third day. Do not come near a wife. And it came to be on the third day in the morning, there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud on the mountains, and the voice of the shofar was very strong, and all the people who were in the camp trembled. And Moshe brought the people out of it. It was that long Yobel, right? And Moshe brought the people out of the camp to meet Elohim, and they stood at the foot of the mountain, and Mount Sinai was in smoke, that thick cloud, right? All of it, because Yahuwah descended upon it in a fire, and its smoke went up to the smoke of a furnace, and all the mountain trembled exceedingly. Can you imagine that? The earth just quaking as Yahuwah is just down there in that fire and smoke. It's all shaking. The people are standing there probably just like, whoa, I can't believe I'm seeing this. Are we going to die? Seriously, it's craziness, right? Now, I don't think it says that, but it kind of does. Like, watch. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, and Yahuwah came down on Mount Sinai on top of the mountain. Yahuwah called Moshe to the top of the mountain, and Moshe went up. See, there he is. He called him. And Moshe went to Moshe, and Yahuwah went to Moshe, go down and warn the people lest they break through unto Yahuwah and see, and many of them fall. See, it's like I was saying, and let the priests who come near Yahuwah set themselves apart too, lest Yahuwah break out against them. And Moshe said to Yahuwah, the people are not able to come up to Mount Sinai, for you warned us, saying, make a border around the mountain and set it apart. And Moshe said to Yahuwah, the people are not able to come up to Mount Sinai, for you warned us. And Yahuwah said to him, come down and then come up. So he told him, go back down again and come up, you and Aharon with you. But do not let the priests and the people break through to come up, lest he break out against them. And so Moshe went back down to the people and spoke to them. So this is the 18th day still, right? All right, so let's go to 20. And Elohim spoke all these words, saying, hang on, did some of that get cut off? There we go. Is that the end of the chapter, guys?
What part?
Is that the end of chapter 19? And is it end at 25?
No, it's showing 1920 and 1924.
Well, 24. Then here's. Okay, I see. Yeah, it's not
It's
in here.
hidden because of that banner.
Okay. All right. So next chapter. And Elohim spoke all these words, saying, I am Yahuwah your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of the house of slavery. You have no other mighty ones against my face. So this all is taking place on Shabbat. This is what Shavuot's all about, right here. You have no other mighty ones against my face. You do not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of that which is in the heavens above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. You do not bow down to them nor serve them. For I, Yahuwah your Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the crookedness of the fathers on the children of the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing loving commitment to thousands to those who love me and guard my commands. You do not bring the name of Yahuwah your Elohim to naught, for Yahuwah does not leave the one unpunished who brings his name to naught. Remember the Sabbath day to set it apart. 6 days you labor and shall do all your work, but on the seventh day is Sabbath. See, look at there. The command to keep Sabbath is still a part of Shavuot. See, everything comes to Shavuot. It touches all this stuff. But the seventh day is a Sabbath of Yahuwah, your Elohim. You do not do any work, you nor your sons, nor your daughters, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within the gates. For in 6 days Yahuwah made the heavens and the earth and the sea and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore Yahuwah blessed the Sabbath day and set it apart. That's where we connect. That's where we connect Exodus 34:22. The day Sabbath, right? Right there. Respect your father and your mother, so that your days are prolonged upon the soul which Yahuwah your Elohim has given you. You do not murder, you do not commit adultery, you do not steal, you do not bear false witness against your neighbor. You do not covet your neighbor's house, nor covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, or whatever belongs to your servant or to your neighbor. All the people saw the thunders, the lightnings, flashes, the voice of the shofar, and the mountains smoking, and the people saw it, and they trembled and stood and said to Moshe, here it is. You speak with us, and we hear, but let not Elohim speak with us, lest we die. See, I told you. They're standing at the base of that mountain, trembling, thinking they're going to die. This is crazy. The whole earth's shaking. He just came back down after he got called up. He came back down and said, hey, guys, he told me to come down and get Aharon, right? So Aharon, he's been down there scared to death too. He's like, oh, man. So now he's got to go up, but he gives them this before he goes back down, and he relates these things to them. And the people say, oh, we're scared. Cool. You talk to him, right? We don't want to die. Like, we're pretty sure we're about to die. We're not sure we can take this. And so he goes back up, right? But Moshe drew near the darkness where Elohim was. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, say this to the children of Israel. And it gives the laws about the altars. Right? Make no one besides me mighty ones of silver. And if you make me a slaughter place of stone, don't build on it with cut stones, right? So if you do, right? And so here we have all this. It's still the 18th day, right? So let's go to 21. All right. These are the right rulings we set before you. All right. So this is kind of where I'm going to skip down just a little bit, because I'm showing you this timeline here. So this is still 3 days after the 15th. Here's the laws about restitution, right? He's given them all his right rulings and his commands. Look, I'm not trying to make light of any of this, guys. Every single thing that's spoken here after that, on Shavuot and on every other day, if you're part of the covenant, this is it. Like we guide our lives by what this is saying. All right, so I don't have to worry about my neighbor and a donkey, right? Or an ox or something like that. But you know what? Maybe it's their car. Maybe it's something else, So maybe it's that billfold you found on the ground you're supposed to return, right? So we can correlate how we live today with what these are. So I just want you to know, I'm not trying to make light of this. This was all commanded. This should all be read on Shavuot, right? But I'm trying to show you the timeline as well here, so that we don't forget it. I'm just kind of glossing over some of it. So here's the laws about the social justices. Right here, do not allow a practicer of witchcraft to live. Anyone lying with a beast shall certainly be put to death. So we don't do bestiality. We don't do witchcraft. When a man entices a maiden who is not engaged and lies with her, he shall certainly pay the bride price. If the father absolutely refuses to give her to him, he pays according to the bride price of maidens, right? So there's laws about, how we conduct ourselves with other people's daughters and sons, and right? So don't afflict any widow or fatherless child. If you do afflict them at all, if they cry out to me at all, I shall certainly hear their cry, right? So if you live under the covenant and you do these things to people outside of the covenant, it still matters. You're not supposed to do this to them. We're supposed to be an example. That's part of that love that Yeshua showed, right? So if you do lend silver to any of my people, the poor among you, you're not to be like the one that lends on interest to him. Do not lay interest on him. Look, if you're letting your buddy borrow something from you and you're inside the covenant and he's inside the covenant too, guess what? You don't charge him interest, right? So I'm just trying to show you, I'm going to move on past this now, but I'm just trying to show you, we can correlate all of these things, right, to what we're doing nowadays. So this is all a part of Shavuot. These are all his ways, that he's given. Don't bring a false report. Well, here's the laws about Sabbaths and festivals. Exodus 23:10. And for 6 years, you are to sow your land and shall gather its increase. But in the 7th year, you are to let it rest and shall leave it. And the poor of your people shall eat, and what they leave, the beasts of the field eat. Do the same with your vineyard and your olive yard. That's literally talking about the Jubilee year and the 7th year, the Sabbath of years. Shemitah year is what it's called. We did one of those a couple of years ago, and you're supposed to forgive debts and all that, so he still has, these are all very important to Shavuot, right? So all this was given for Shavuot. So, to neglect these items would also be to neglect, honoring this appointed time as well, and so I'm going to keep going. Talking some more. Don't slaughter the blood of my slaughterings with leavened bread. The fat of the festival shall not remain until morning. Bring the first of the first fruits of your land into the house of Yahuwah your Elohim. Do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. A lot of people get confused by that. It's talking about a goat that has been born and is still not weaned yet, but it's a part of the first that broke the womb, and you have to give it to Yahuwah. He's saying, don't do it until you take it off the mother. Don't do it while it's still in the mother's milk, right? It's not talking about milking a mother so much that you're able to actually cook an animal in that mother's milk. That's crazy. That's torture. That's mean. That's not what it's talking about. All right.
Well, in Judaism also, Toby, in Judaism, they'll say they won't eat a cheeseburger with cheese on meat because of that. And that's actually twisting it.
Yeah, they're twisted. They twist a lot. Okay, here we go. And Moshe, and to Moshe he said, come up to Yahuwah, you and Aharon. Okay, so there we are back there at the end of 19. Go down, get Aharon, and come back up. Come up to Yahuwah, you and Aharon, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and you shall bow yourselves from a distance. Okay, so this is on that same day. So it's still the 18th. He goes down and he gets Aharon, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 elders. So there's 73 people with Moshe. So there's 74 people here total that are going to bow themselves from a distance to Yahuwah. So, but it says right here, next verse, but Moshe shall draw near to Yahuwah by himself, and let them not draw near, nor let the people go up with him. Right? So this is where so it's 3 days after Shavuot. So he's going up by himself. And Moshe came and related all the people the words and all the right rulings. And all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words which Yahuwah has spoken, we shall do. Okay, they reconfirmed. They agreed to everything. And Moshe, he wrote down all the words of Yahuwah Now listen, he didn't go right back up, right? This is where he goes back up, right? Okay, and Moshe wrote down all the words of Yahuwah and rose up early in the morning, built a slaughter place at the foot of the mountain, and 12 standing columns for the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, and they offered ascending offerings and slaughter offerings and slaughterings of peace offerings to Yahuwah of bulls. And Moshe took half the blood, put it in the basins, and half the blood he sprinkled on the slaughter place. And he took the book of the covenant and read it in the hearing of the people. So this is on the 19th, all right? And they said, all that Yahuwah has spoken, we shall do and obey. So they did it on the 15th, they did it on the 18th, they did it on the 19th. So 3 different times now, all he's going to do, we're going to obey, right? And Moshe took the blood, sprinkled it on the people, right there. The blood of the covenant, which Yahuwah has made with you concerning all these words. Okay, I want to stop. I want to correlate this to something real quick. Right now, we have in the land of Israel, we have the heifers that are red heifers. It was a red heifer that he did this with. You can go and look in other parts of the Torah and talks to us about it. It was a red heifer that they did this with. Those red heifers that they've had in Israel, they're mature. They're ready for this. They're ready for this. This Shavuot, we might see this right here. I just want to put that bug in your ear. We might not. I'm just letting you know that the animals that are in Israel right now, those ones that Hamas has tried to kill, that have been there for, 2 years now, they're mature. They're ready. I don't know how they would do it next year. Perhaps they might. Perhaps they found that there's a blemish on them. I don't know. I haven't heard much here lately about it, to be honest with you, because Hamas tried to kill them, so they hit them. And I haven't heard nothing about it yet, right? But they're of the right age. We're in that window. This year at Shavuot, they might try to do this. And just so that you know, not very short after the Pope died, they appointed a man of the lineage of Aharon as high priest of the future temple that hasn't been built yet. I just want to put that bug in your ear, because guess what? There's a high priest in Israel technically right now. I'm just saying, all the pieces are there. All the pieces are there. Israel's had their prophet there for a minute. They've been calling him that. I don't remember his name. You can go look it up. We've talked about this before in the past. But there's a man there that all the rabbis from all over the world have flown in to see and talked to. And they all say with one accord, he's the man, right? Now, I'll also say the Pope, not this one that just left, that just died, but the one before him, said that there's another that's more worthy than I, and he actually handed that over, and then he died, right? And then we have a new Pope, right? And then I want to point out that last week, maybe it was the week before that, we talked about this fellow that showed up on the scene, right? Who's claiming that he is the direct descendant of Muhammad and of Peter, and he is the one who is to take, pretty much, he's head. He says he is the Pope, the vicar of Christ. So he's saying that he is the true one, that the other one's a false Pope, right? So we have all that happening right now, guys. So I just want to bring that to your attention, not to take away from anything that's going on here, but all this is happening right now because guess what's coming up in a couple of weeks? Shavuot. Shavuot is. So we need to know that this day isn't just some flipping day where it's like, whatever, we're here for it. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, all right, we're not going to work today, but we don't know what to do, right? Well, we're to celebrate. It's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to mikvah, and we're supposed to eat together, so it's basically a barbecue is what we're supposed to be doing with what's allowed, not pigs and stuff like that. We're not getting a ham together or whatever. But all that's going on because Shavuot is coming up, and here we are talking about this right now. So I just wanted to real quickly correlate those matters. This is what was going on then. It was a red heifer that he used to kill, sprinkle the blood over the people and over the area, right? So see the blood of the covenant which Yahuwah has made concerning all these, and Moshe went up, also Aharon, Nadab, Abihu, and 70 elders, right? So they're up. It's still the 19th, and they saw the Elohim of Israel under his feet like a paved work of sapphire stone, and like the heavens for brightness. That's cool.
Toby,
Go ahead.
If I may, I want to just to confirm what you said, so people can see that what you're saying is true, and I'm going to share it real quick. And
yeah, go ahead.
This is him. Will we see that? What does it say? Sanhedrin appoints high priest in preparation for the third temple. He's there.
There it is.
There it is.
Guys, this is absolutely crazy times that we're living in. This is almost as crazy as it was with what they just went through. Like all these, see, we read this stuff and we're so disconnected because we don't understand history. We don't understand that everything that Yahuwah does, he does for a reason. Mainly the reason why we don't understand it, though, is because our language falls short in many areas, and we're unable to comprehend these things without diligently studying. And, you know, guys like me, not everybody's called to be as diligent as I am in studying. And I'm not as diligent as others are, you know, but whenever the Ruach HaKodesh leads you to these things and you see them, we talk about them, we fellowship, and we share them with each other. And guess what? If I'm saying something that's not true, there's going to be somebody there to say, hey, what about this? What about this writing? What about what it says here? Right? And that's how we become sharper. You know, hopefully, you know, I'm very studied enough that I'm not really going to run into a contradiction unless it's completely in ignorance for me, you know. But there's a lot of pastors who will say that too. And then you ask them about, well, why don't you keep these ordinances and commands? Oh, I'm not convicted to do that. Well, you condemn homosexual lifestyles, but they're not convicted to change. What's the difference between you and them, right? Like, I know those are extremes. I'm just saying. Anyways, you know, y'all study, be found approved, be diligent.
Kobe, I had an incident one time. I had a gentleman that was talking to me, and he was a pastor, he told me, and that was his job on Sunday, but he was a plumber during the week, and we went in and out of an area where we were buying some equipment and stuff. And he told his helper, he said, yeah, me and this gentleman don't get along. And I said, what do you mean we don't get along? He said, well, you believe we're under the law. And I said, we are. And he said, no, we're not. It's done away with. And I said, so I can have sex with your wife? And his mouth hit the floor. And when I started saying stuff to him, he said, well, in that case, I guess the law doesn't exist.
You're right. All of a sudden, no, I'm for it now.
So it's just different people's interpretation of what is the law. I mean, that's the confusion.
Right, exactly. And it's mainly because of
without the law, we don't know what sin is.
Exactly. There's no standard.
The law is a standard for us to understand the sin, what sin is. And that's
that's what Paul's talking about whenever he calls it a schoolmaster, being underneath the schoolmaster of Torah, right? You see, whenever you're under that and you learn from it, then to transition underneath the authority of Yeshua, the Messiah, is very easy because you already know righteous ways. And you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what he's trying to say there. He's not getting rid of the law. He's saying that it's a schoolmaster to us unto the Messiah. Once again, I'm going to go back and I'm going to reference Matthew 7. Depart from me, you who do lawlessness, right? I never knew you. Righteousness, it's the opposite of sin. It's keeping his ways. Okay, I'm going to keep reading. And they saw the Elohim of Israel, and under his feet, like paved work of sapphire stone, and like the heavens for brightness, he did not stretch out. Yet he did not stretch out his hands against the chiefs of the children of Israel. And they saw Elohim, and they ate and drank. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, come up on the mountain and be there while I give you tables of stones and the Torah and the command which I have written. So we're still on the 19th. This is 4 days after Shavuot, after the 15th day. He says, and the Torah and the commands which I have written to teach them. And Moshe arose with his assistant, Yahoshua, and Moshe went up to the mountain of Elohim. And he said to the elders, wait here for us until we come back. Excuse me. And see, Aharon and Hur are with you. Whoever has matters, let him go to them. And Moshe went up into the mountain, and a cloud covered the mountain. And the esteem of Yahuwah dwelt on Mount Sinai. And the cloud, listen to this, and the cloud covered it for 6 days. And on the 7th day, he called to Moshe out of the midst of the cloud. Okay, let's do some simple math here. They got there, evening of the 14th, set up camp. Next day's 15th, right? Moshe goes up on a mountain. He comes down. We're at the 15th, right? Okay, Yahuwah tells him to do all this stuff. He comes back down. He tells people say, yeah, everything you say, we're going to do it. He goes back up. Yahuwah commands him some more. It's still the same day. He comes back down with the command, deliver my, that in 3 days, I'm going to come to you. All right. But and he commands him to make a border around the mountain. And on that day comes 3 days later, right? 3 days. I'm setting up a timeline here. So 3 days later, he goes up. He comes back down. He's got to get Aharon, because Yahuwah commanded him to get Aharon, 2 other dudes, and the elders, right? So he comes back down, goes to sleep, right? Wakes back up. Now we're 4 days after that event, okay? Now, here it says 6 days, right? Because we're still on the 19th. So he went up on the 19th, and the cloud covered it for 6 more days. And on the 7th day, he called to Moshe out of the midst of the cloud. Okay, y'all get that? So 6 plus 4 is 10. So he was on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. Now, right? So now you can add 10 plus 40. That's 50. So he comes down whenever the next appointed time is, right? And so I'm just kind of trying to show y'all that these timelines, they matter. This history all works together. But the overall thing here is that this happened for Shavuot. The law was given. So we've gone over Noah and the covenant that was made between the whole earth and Yahuwah not to destroy it, and the one that was made between Noah and his sons, right? And then we have the promise for a son to be given to Abraham, and Abraham also makes his commitment at the same time during that 3rd month, right? And that's a type and shadow of Yeshua. And we just went into Luke and we saw the same exact wording, right? Where on the 6th, right? So, in Jubilees, it says that Isaac was born on the 15th day of the 3rd month. Well, Yeshua, it doesn't say that in the New Testament, but he was born at the appointed time that he should have been born. And that was on the 15th day of the 3rd month. He came to him in the 6th month. Gabriel came in the 6th month, just like it happened for Sarah. So we have, you want to celebrate Yeshua's birthday? This is it. You celebrate Shavuot, right? So we've covered those things, and then here we are. The law is given, okay, and it connects, right? Whenever it's given, we connect what Moshe was doing up on the mountain to the next appointed time. But now we're going to go into Acts. We're going to go to Acts 2, and we're going to look at something else. Let's see, Acts right there, Acts 2. And when the day of the festival of Shavuot had come. Okay, so what day is it? This is the 15th day of the 3rd month. They were all with one mind in one place, and suddenly there came a sound from the heavens as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And they appeared to them divided tongues as a fire, and settled on each one of them. And they were all filled with the set-apart Spirit, and began to speak with other tongues as the Spirit gave them to speak. Now in Jerusalem there were dwelling Yehudim, dedicated men from every nation under the heaven. And when this sound came to be, the crowd came together and were confused, because everyone heard them speak in his own language. There it is, guys. That's tongues. It ain't blah, blee, 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 blah, blee, blee. No, that's not it. It's not getting somebody put their hand on your forehead and you falling out. And blah, 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 blah. That ain't it.
You know what I find interesting with that, Toby?
What?
When you go to a Pentecostal church, you see them babbling because they're in Babylon.
That's right. You're absolutely right. Filled with the set-apart Spirit, speaking in tongues means that they're talking, but other languages are hearing. They're not talking in some other language. They're prophesying in their own. And everybody else, doesn't matter who they are, can understand it.
I second that.
Also, Scripture says that even Paul said it. So he says, "If I speak in tongues and have no one to translate, then shut my mouth."
I'm a sounding
clear. If there's, because the Spirit should always translate. There's always someone that has to have that gift that can actually translate what you're saying. And if you don't have that, which I see that many churches don't have that, it's better off that the person stays shut and quiet.
Right. Yeah.
Jose?
Yes.
Sorry, but I can't understand you.
Look, it even back it says, and when this sound came to be, the crowd came together. They were confused because everyone heard them speak in his own language. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying to each other, "Look, are not all these who speak Galileans? And how do we hear? Each one in our own language in which we were born." So me and you are talking, but the Russians and the Germans, they can hear us talking and understand what we're saying. And they're marveling because they know that we're not speaking their language.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what's going on there. Parthians and Medes and Elamites and those dwelling in Aram, Naharim, both Yehuda and Cappadocia and Pontius and Asia, both Phrygia, Pamphylia, Mitzrayim, and the parts of Libya around Crete, visitors from Rome, both Yehudim and converts, Christians and Arabs. We hear them speaking in our own tongues the great deeds of Elohim.
Wow.
There you have it.
Wow.
It's written down. Quit listening to idiots who don't know what they're saying. Quit going
Pentecostal
along with
churches
everybody
that
else.
teach it out of context.
Right.
Yes. And now, and be careful because now there's classes.
Look, this is so important. Let me tell you, all the people that are listening to us right now who don't have a voice here saying, what does it matter? So what if I do that? It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect you. I do it in my closet. I know people who do that. I do, and they do it in their closet privately, and they think that it draws them close to the Most High. Here's why it matters. This happened on Shavuot.
Yeah.
This is all inside the covenant.
Yeah.
If you bring in that nonsense, you're adding to. You're doing something here that was not a part of it. So it does matter. It matters that those people are babbling instead of being understood. We don't have an Elohim that we serve that is the Elohim of chaos and confusion and misunderstanding. No, he's
not the author of confusion, that's for sure.
Right, exactly. He'll send you a great delusion. He'll send that spirit out and make you think that what you're doing is right whenever you don't conform to his ways. And that's what's going on with the church and all this, what the Christians are doing and what the people who speak in tongues are doing and all that. And all they really need to do is they need to ask the Ruach HaKodesh to be their teacher and to come and teach them. And they need to open up their Bible and they need to start reading. And they don't need nobody else in their ears. That's how you get these revelations. That's how you figure this stuff out. It's not you. It's the Ruach HaKodesh leading you to these things. And whenever they do and you read it, all of a sudden you're like, I read that so many times and it didn't make sense. And now it does. Look at that. And I still understand it. But why didn't I understand then? It's the revealing, right? So, okay. So this was all done. They were all amazed and they were all puzzled, saying to each other, what does this mean? And others mocking, saying they have been filled with sweet wine. See, they're twisting. So Kefa's got to let them know, man, this is Shavuot. And even though this is a day that you can do that on, ain't nobody here drunk. Nobody here is drunk, and he lets them know that, they are acting under the, what's the word I'm looking here? Where they're acting because they've been filled with the Ruach HaKodesh. What they're doing is not of them, it's of the Spirit. And so he's trying to let them know, warn them, hey, whoa, hey, yeah, no, I hear you. But what are we told by Yeshua? You can blaspheme Yahuwah, you can blaspheme me. But if you blaspheme the Ruach HaKodesh, there is no coming back from that. There's no forgiveness, right? So he's warning them, hey, whoa, and so he knows this. This is in his mind when he's telling them this, so he's trying to stave that and show them what the truth is. And what happens on that day? They go and they mikvah, right? And there's 3,000 added to them. So this was done on Shavuot. The Spirit was given on Shavuot. And Yeshua very pointedly says before he leaves, go into Jerusalem and wait for the appointed time. He tells them that. That's why they're there. That's why Acts 2 exists, right? And so, what has it been? It's been 2 hours and 20 minutes now. So there's still some more points that we could make, But, I mean, dude, these are all huge things that are connected to Shavuot. All of them. So I don't want to bore everybody to death. Let me make sure I hit all the big things real quick. But yeah, no. So pretty much, more than what was on the initial slideshow there to show what all we're covering and connecting. All of this is connected. Shavuot is when Noah made the covenant with Yahuwah for the world and the rainbow was given, right? We have all the commands that were given at that time for the covenant. So the commands directly relate to Shavuot, okay? Because they were given at the same time. This is all a memorial, it says. We read this, right, in Jubilee 6. So, but after Noah died, his sons didn't do what they were supposed to do until Abraham came along. And that's where we see Yahuwah begins to interface with Abraham. And then on the third month again, he gives the covenant to Abraham, just like he did for Noah. And guess what? It was for the whole world, guys. Look, I don't want to mince words here. There was nobody else alive on the face of the earth except for Noah and his posterity at that time. Everybody descended from them. This is for the whole world, guys. This was for the whole world initially. And then after the sons rejected it, all those generations passed. They spread out amongst the earth. One man, Abraham, said, I want to do this. And Yahuwah showed up and he said, all right, I'll give you my covenant. Right? And he did. And he gave him rules for that. And he gave him a promise, a son that was to come. And the son that was to come came at the same time that he entered into the covenant, that Noah also entered into the covenant. Right? And so the son was born, right? Well, fast forward, how many generations did we have to go before they fell away and they forgot who they were? And all of a sudden they're in Mitzrayim, right? Here they are in Mitzrayim. They don't know who they are. They're making sacrifices to other Elohim. Moshe is raised up, right? And he goes and he gets them. And the day after, right, they leave on Passover that night. The next morning, Shavuot, from that time until, next morning's not Shavuot, it's first fruits, right? So from that time, it's the 15th. From that time, all the way until the third month, it takes them that long to get to Mount Sinai. Then Yahuwah, on the third month, the middle of the third month, he makes a covenant with them. And in the book of Jubilees, that's why I started out in Jubilees 1:1, right, is to show that that book was given to him at this time where they're on the mountain. So now we have the law given on the 15th day of the third month, right? And then they break it, right? And then there's a promise that happens that one who's going to be raised up that's like him in all his words you should hear and obey. That's the Navi Emet. That's the Messiah. That's the one that Yochanan ben Zechariah's servants came to Yeshua while he was in prison and said, are you the one or are you not? And he tells them, go back and report. The blind see, the lame walk, the deaf hear, right? He all these signs that are supposed to be of him, who he is, to prove who he is, right? So he is the one that's given, and he's recognized before he's even born by Yochanan ben Zechariah while he's in his mother's womb because of the set-apart spirit that's in him, which means that Elizabeth had a double portion of the Spirit in her, right? And gave greetings to him to his mother while he was in her womb. Blessed are you, the fruit of your womb, right? So that, right, and then he's born. That was given in the 6th month, right? And it gives. So Gabriel came in the 6th month, and he says Elizabeth is in her 6th month. What does that mean? That means that Elizabeth got pregnant in the 1st month. Well, let's recap. What happened in the 1st month, right before this, right? Zechariah went in to offer incense, and he saw an angel, right? Gabriel, to be exact. And he said, your wife's going to have a kid. And he said, how can this be? And it made him mad. And he said, I'm not even going to let you talk now. You know what I'm saying? So Zechariah couldn't even talk. But he came home, right? And Elizabeth, it says, was in her 6th month whenever Gabriel came to Mary. So that means that she got pregnant just like was told in that very same month, right? So it's a witness to us. It's a witness. It's a sign to Mary. That's why I'm even talking about it, because this is a sign to Mary that this is happening. The woman who couldn't bear children is pregnant. Go check it out and see. That's what he's saying. And so she, with haste, gets up in the 6th month and goes and sees, right? And so here they are. And then all that happens, salutes her and everything else. That's the 6th month. So what do? We count the gestation period, 9 months, 40 weeks. That brings us, just like it did Sarah with Isaac, 40 weeks later, we have the arrival of Yeshua. So the son given, the promise, the one who was to come, is given on this day, right? And then, he goes and he's raised up, he lives his life. And Bo, I want to say that I believe that his ministry was another layer of the 70 weeks of Daniel's prophecy. And I believe his ministry was 70 weeks. And I can go through and I can show you all the high days. And I can prove to you that his ministry was 70 weeks, by using the high days. If you do not know the appointed times and the high days, that's why we're talking about these, then there's no way for you to be able to go into the New Testament and to be able to track the time to see how long it was. Nope, you got to listen to these people tell you lies. 3 years, 3.5 years, maybe more. They got all this nonsense. But he does his ministry, right? And whenever he ascends up into the heaven, he's got one more thing that's going to happen on this day. And he says, go to Jerusalem. Wait on me there. I won't be there at the appointed time. They knew that something was going to happen at the appointed time. And what happened? The Spirit was given at the appointed time. So the 15th day of the 3rd month is a huge time when much celebration is to be taking place, right? Because we're celebrating the covenant that was given to the whole world from Noah, that you and I are part of, that Abraham got, and then circumcision came along, right? He was circumcised after the covenant as a sign of the covenant in his flesh, right? So everything comes back around to this. Everything does. So anyways, guys, I digress. What do y'all got? What does the people in the comments have or anything like that? Y'all want to add anything?
Well, I see that a lot of them are enjoying it. I also want to state, as everyone understands, that we are trying to clarify the festivals. That's what we're going to be teaching for the next few Shabbats. But then there is one of the Shabbats that it's going to be fellowship. So that's where I invite everyone, whoever wants to get on. Of course, obviously, with respect, to Father first and the brothers here in the channel. So be looking forward to that. Also, if all those that like to study on, because we understand that the festivals are fatherly ordained and commanded, but we also want people to understand what paganism is, because a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't have no type of books or anything to help you understand it. I'm going to recommend for the brothers, I'm going to share this. If everyone can see that, please let me know. So this right here, let me get rid of this for a minute. Can we see that? Which I'm trying to. It's taking some time, but what I'm going to do is, can we see that? Okay.
Yes.
what does that say? Pagan customs in the congregation of God. Pagan customs in the congregation of God. This is a pamphlet. This has over, I'm close to maybe 200 to 300 verses in the Bible. Okay, it took me 3 to 4 years to create. This is a pamphlet. This is a study guide, but you need to have the Torah with you. This is not a book that you just can read. It has so many verses to verify everything. It was a 4-year research, which Father granted me, touched my heart to do it. And get it, pick it up. It's on Kindle for people that don't want the actual book. You can do it and get it on Kindle. And what it'll do, it'll open it. It'll bring you all the verses, and you can study. You can use it as a study guide. Buy one and use or buy as many. But what this does is gives you knowledge of what paganism is. The second part to that would be this one, which is called. Let me see, where is it? Okay, right here. Here we go. Can you see that? This thing is like it's slow for some reason. All right, so this one. Let's just stop screen. Let me go back over here. So present this one, share screen, and this is this one, and let's share. Did it come on? Yep. Okay. And that is the second part. That's the God's festivals for the. This talks about all the festivals that what Brother Toby has been doing a great job. And this talks about what Father wants his children to do. And these talks about Shavot, Passover, unleavened bread, all that. So this is another book. You can pick it up on Amazon.com. Like I said, I don't really make a cent out of this. This is just pretty much tools that you can have that is written down. You can also get it in Kindle. It's not a lot of money, but it's an investment for your knowledge. So we have the first one, and we have this one, which is God Festivals for the Congregation of God. Obviously, it's just so people can basically understand that the festivals are ordained by Him and ordered by Him. So this is what this is about. Okay, so without being said, I hope you guys look on Amazon.com, find those books, add it to your arsenal, and you'll see how it'll give you an understanding of what Father really wants His children to stay away from. And just wanted to say thank you, Father, for having Toby, for Bo, for everyone here. Toby did an amazing job, as he always does. I'm going to share this one too, because this is what's coming on next, which will be, from what I'm mistaken, today's the 5th, 27. So that, I'm going to see the 27. So the next one, I think, is the Festival of Trumpets, if I'm not mistaken. This is 531. Yeah, I think the Festival of Trumpets. So let me see. Let me put this in share. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So there you go. That's your upcoming ones. You got them all here, all the dates. Please, you can, if you want, all those subscribers, share, like, and subscribe. It says notify me. It'll tap, so when we come on, you can see. But these are all the upcoming ones. Father willing, we'll have brother Toby with us, and brother Bo, as always, and we want to push it as much as we can so people understand the festivals. As Toby says it time and time again, they are important. They are super important for your growth, for your knowledge of who Father is, who is the Messiah. It always talks about the Messiah, always, So without further ado, let me put the brothers, to say their goodbyes to the next Shabbat, and then we'll put one of the suffering Messiahs always. Okay, go for it, guys.
I just wanted to say I love your passion of what you bring. We're all coming out of falsehood and trying to seek truth. And when people run into people like us and we're passionate about it, it gives a true meaning of a remnant, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I agree, brother. I agree. This makes me real happy to see, and it's like, like the Spirit says, where he is, his children are. They have no no disagreements. The foundation is there, the spirit is there, the knowledge is there, you know, and we just, all we trying to do is just bring knowledge to our brothers and sisters. We're not, you know, we wanna, you know, just push that the true understanding is the Torah understanding, the knowledge that Father gives us. You know what I mean? I have a lot to learn. You know, I'm always learning. Every time I put Brother Toby, Brother Bo, I always learn something new. I'm not afraid to learn. You know what I mean? And that's what we should all be doing, and just continuously studying the Torah. That's why it says Torah before Shabbat. Because, always have the spirit, you know, I always have an app or the Torah with you, and, you know, read it daily or a verse, whatever you can, you know, find time to study. But that's the best thing to do, and that will bring you to truth, you know. And I agree with, you know, with my brothers, you know, they have a lot to say. That's why I said this is a family channel. Sometimes, brothers and sisters, please be understanding. This is a live channel. It's very difficult sometimes for us to all get together, and because we enjoy doing it live, we're enjoying it where people can actually see us at that current time, that current moment. We're together as one, and we're talking scripture. We're talking about, you know, getting to know Torah and bring our knowledge and just, you know, and we do this out of love for Father, out of love for our brothers and sisters, to get them out of this, you know. If anyone is you know, not understanding Torah or not understanding the festivals, well, these are why we create these videos, because we want them to have a source. We want them to have the knowledge. You know, right now, Toby has given them, wow, so many verses that it's undeniable. It's undeniable. You know what I mean? And I just thank, you know, Father, for, you know, touching our brothers and sisters, and, you know, to come on this channel. Please share, you know, please like it. It's important that people remind people that please like the channel. Please share it. Share it with friends, whoever you think it's more important, you know, like it's more important to share it and like it, because it helps the channel grow. And, you know, I'm just grateful that what Father's doing. And, you know, like I said, everyone that is here, I always tell everyone, you know, everybody's welcome. I always acknowledge all my brothers and sisters. You know, thanks for being here. You know, we have Leo Yahoo, we have Hoking Smokey, Susan Lauzon, Yahuwah is love. You know, we love you guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks for, you know, taking your time and joining us, because we are live, and not to be afraid to make comments, and not to be afraid to, you know, ask questions, you know. And that's all I can really say. You know,
we're doing this live so that there's nothing to hide. Y'all can, so that people can see. Like, I mean, we're just regular, you know, we're normal people, you know, like we live in these flesh suits too. So, you know, we definitely are susceptible to mistakes and things like that. But we do this live so that it's more transparent in real time. Questions, you know, whatever. But for sure, today I did not plan this. And I didn't know that we were going to do this week. And so this was all Yahuwah, you know, this wasn't me. Praise Yahuwah. He's the one who gives us everything, even our knowledge. And so none of it's me. And praise Yahuwah that, you know, that y'all have heard this and understood it. Real quick, I do want to pray to wrap up, you know, this SHavot discussion. So Abba Yahuwah, we just come before you right now, and we ask that your name will be most set apart and most exalted, and that your kingdom would come and your will will be done in everybody's lives here, and that you would give us hearts that are after yours, Abba Yahuwah, and you would appoint wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to go with the ones that are in the covenant, so that they can be effective, so that we can be effective, and we can know and understand what you're doing and when you're doing it. We ask that you forgive us where we fall short in our understanding and in our actions, and that you would deal with us in your mercy and not your wrath, and that you would keep revealing things to us, that your spirit would keep working on us. We ask that you would be with the ones who are hearing this, and that you will touch their hearts and their lives, bless them. You know what they're going through, Abba Yahuwah. We lift them up to you. We ask all these things in Yeshua's name and for your great name's sake. Hallelujah.
Thank you, brother.
Hallelujah.
All right, brother. As I said,
Love you guys.
Yeah, we love you too, brother. Glory to Yah. And like I said, let's just keep hope to see everyone on the next Shabbat. As we said, I think I mentioned it was going to be, what was it? Let me see where I put it. I think I missed it. It's going to be the Feast of Trumpets we're going to talk about. Okay. So that's awesome. So I'm looking forward to it. So without further ado, let's put the suffering and the suffering's Messiah, and we're going to close it up. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I hope everyone had a great study. Thank you, Brother Toby. Thank you, Brother Bo. Thank you for everyone that was on the channel, and we hope you enjoy, the next Shabbat, whatever Father wants to bring, to us. So Shabbat Shalom, one, and we'll see you soon.
Hallelujah.
Shabbat Shalom.
Behold, my servant shall work wisely. He shall be exalted and lifted up, and be very high. As many were astonished at you, so the disfigurement beyond any man's, and his form beyond the sons of men. He shall likewise startle many nations. Sovereigns will shut their mouths at him. For what had not been recounted to them, they shall see, and what they had not heard, they shall understand. Who has believed our report? And to whom was the arm of Yahuwah revealed? For he grew up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of dry ground. He has no form or splendor that we should look upon him, nor appearance that we should desire him. Despised and rejected by men, a man of pains and knowing sickness, and as one from whom the face is hidden, being despised, and we did not consider him. Truly he has borne our sicknesses and carried our pains. Yet we reckoned him stricken, smitten by Elohim, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our crookednesses. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed. We all, like sheep, went astray. Each one of us has turned to his own way, and Yahuwah has laid on him the crookedness of us all. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, but he did not open his mouth. He was led as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before its shearers is silent, but he did not open his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment. And as for his generation, who considered that he should be cut off from the land of the living? For the transgression of my people, he was stricken. And he was appointed a grave with the wrong and with the rich at his death, because he had done no violence, nor was deceit in his mouth. But Yahuwah was pleased to crush him. He laid sickness on him. And when he made himself an offering for guilt, he would see a seed. He would prolong his days, and the pleasure of Yahuwah would prosper in his hand. He would see the result of the suffering of his life, through his knowledge, my righteous servant makes many righteous, and he bears their wickednesses. Therefore I give him a portion among the great, and he divides the spoil with the strong, because he poured out his being unto death, and he was counted with the transgressors. He bore the sin of many and made intercession for the transgressors.